here.
He knew we were watching. Hey, everybody. GameHounds
Mm-hmm.
podcast. I actually went preemptively live because we thought we might be seeing Nick's cat escaping the room. Because apparently Nick's cat knows how to open that door.
I'm
You're
ignoring.
looking at him. Pretend you're not looking at him because he's not going to do it when you don't look.
I'm not. Oh, he's going over there.
All right. Is he going to do it? Is he going to do it? Okay, don't look.
I'm getting my phone out.
All right. Get your phone out. We can all be.
You hear him?
Yeah, I heard him. So we're just having a conversation like normal. Everybody ignore the cat. Come on, cat, do it. Do it. Do it.
Oh, he sounds so sad.
Oh, he's going to do it. He's going to, come on, just do it. Anyway, so we're preparing the show. Let's see what other ones I've got. Nintendo exposed, not as wholesome as you thought. Did you read that article out of Kotaku? Mm-hmm. So you got Embracer Group. Oh, Zuckerberg announces Meta in Italy.
He's turning around. Okay.
Italy and Spain does not go well. All right. And then my last one is Amazon may or may not be acquiring acquiring EA. And I'm going to put those in. I'm going to put that with dashes because that makes more sense and looks better. Actually, you know what? All right, I'll leave it that way. And then Game Pass Ultimate. Let's see, Game Pass Family Plan may have game sharing. Okay. Let's see if that's everything I got. You got the Lord of the Rings. You got Embracer Group. Bought Kotaku. Or bought Nintendo. DLC packs going up. Price of PS5 price increase. Oh, yeah. Oh, and are we going to talk Gamescom?
Yeah, I just had a general at the top. I had General Gamescom 2022.
Okay, good. And I won't put in Dead Island. Hey, we got AC Wraith. Hi, AC Wraith in the chat room. So let's get Audacity up and running for the audio people. Okay, we are running. Okay. Quit my email because it makes noise all the time with all the spam that Kevin's account gets. Kevin's account is so full of spam of penis enlargements and it's all spam. And then you've been a dirty boy. We've been watching you through your camera and we know that you've been watching porn. I'm like, he's been dead for a year. So I kind of want to go, listen, asshole, fuck off. But I know that's just going to make it worse.
I remember I once looked at I have a Gmail address that I use mostly and a Comcast address that I rarely use, but whenever I log into it, most of it's spam. And I'll look and they'll be like, 6 months ago, we've seen what you've been doing. If you don't get back to us within a week, we will expose you. It's like, well, that was 6 months ago, so I guess I'm screwed. Whatever. Move on.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So, I think that's about it. Games. Did you put your games in?
Yes.
Okay, standard games. Stardew Valley. All right. I did not play the game that you told me to play, but here I'm going to propose something
Okay.
in the show.
Okay.
So what else?
Shepard, come over here.
What else do we need to do? It's so weird that I don't have to do all this stuff because you did it all.
I know. I made all the banners.
Yeah. If you're not aware, Nick, I finally gave. Well, I mean, I was always willing to give it, but Nick didn't want it. Administrative access.
I just didn't
see a need.
Go for it. Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't see a need. But Nick now has administrative access to our broadcasting software. So he can see things like banners and add them and take them off and put in new banners.
You know what time it is? It's rock time.
Oh, God. He's discovered the music section and he loves this. Loves this music. See, this is where I'm really, really sad I gave it to him because he discovered it. This comes with the program, with the system. They announced that you can actually have in-stream music. And then they offered a bunch of these songs that are just random stuff that you can loop in if you want to. And Nick found this one. And he's all about it.
This is by far my favorite.
Most of them are very lo-fi, kind of, interesting, not very impactful music.
Yeah.
And then Nick found this one.
This one gets the blood going.
It gets something going, but it's... All right, can we turn this off now, please? Please. Thank you.
Let's bring it down.
Yeah, see, so there's the stuff that is normally played. And you hear that whenever I do the live streams, gameplay. You will see that. By the way, this episode is not brought to you by Huel. I just didn't have breakfast this morning and I'm Huelin'. So I don't have to.
AC Wraith says, go with it. This is the way into that custom guitar that we trick Edie into buying for him. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, we could totally get you like a GameHounds branded guitar.
We could. Mm-hmm. No, we couldn't.
We get a guitar.
No,
we get a GameHounds sticker, and we just put the sticker on it, and all of a sudden it becomes GameHounds branded.
So, AC Wraith, do you play the guitar? I mean, I assume that you do, but there's a lot of people I don't know. I showed Nick the other day. I have a bass, a rather spendy bass that I, A, didn't buy. It was given to me. And B, I don't play the bass. Had it for, let's see, it was 1987 when it was given to me. And it was already 15, 20 years old at that point. So it's old. And it's a Fender, so it's actually good. But I don't play it. So do you play the guitar, AC Wraith? Do you? And I'm waiting. Anytime you can answer. Or you can make a link. So that is Shepard.
Mm-hmm.
Shepard absolutely loves Nick. He says, I have specific tastes. I have one designed. I can piece together something resembling it, but I really want a custom-shaped body from
a luthier?
Form a luthier.
What's a luthier?
I don't know. Couldn't tell you.
Oh, I can't.
I can't.
Now that I have admin, I can't highlight individual.
Yes, that's the downside, is you can no longer go to links. That is a problem. All right, so let me go
it's a guitar maker.
Okay. All right. So remember also now with this administrative access, Is it when you share a screen, unless you want it, when you want to go to full screen of a video, you have to share it first, remove it, and then when you try and go to full screen, it doesn't literally go full screen anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, A. Luthier is an instrument maker, one for wood instruments anyway. Oh, okay.
Okay.
All right, I think we're done. We're ready to go. On time, sort of. Closer to on time than we normally do.
Okay.
Anything we want to add before the show?
No.
Okay. Look at that cat. Look at that cat. So happy. Just lives for this.
Mm-hmm.
I say it every time. On one of these days, I want someone to love me.
Oh. Let me.
You can unshare it. So I want someone to love me as much as that cat loves you. So let's start the show. Let me start up the audio show.
Okay. Oh wait. Actually, there was one thing I wanted to say. How is the camera? How's the quality of it?
It is washed out.
It is, but like the detail, because the washout
Detail's better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. This is actually the camera from the laptop.
Oh, okay. Well, compare A/B it, because I mean, I don't know. I'm only saying I can see you better. Maybe it's because of the light, because you're not in half shadow.
I was wondering because I could select 1080p output with this, but when I plug in the webcam, I could only go to 720.
Okay. It's not as good as, this one. Because, I mean, the two between mine are different. Let's see. There's my webcam.
Oh, I didn't see a difference.
There's my FaceTime. I have to move my webcam there. There's my FaceTime.
That I can see a difference.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I have to get a new computer.
Oh. What happened?
I'm stuck. I was planning on getting a camera for astrophotography, because I want to get into astrophotography. I want to get a mirrorless camera, and really, if I'm going to start doing it, I want to start doing it with not the very, very best, because the very, very best DSLR camera is like $6,000.
Yeah.
I don't need that. But the best mirrorless camera for what I want to do is around like $1,200. Not a bad investment for me, because I can use it for what I want to start doing. Also, I can use it for video. So this will look even better. But my company now wants me to make promotional videos. And in order for me, if we're going to start doing it like hardcore, I really should stop using iMovie and start using either Adobe Premiere or Final Cut. And I'll probably use Final Cut because it's cheaper overall. If I use Final Cut, I have to upgrade my operating system. And my operating system cannot be upgraded on this machine, even though it works just fine. But this machine is 10 years old? Well, let me see. I'll tell you about this Mac. It is late 2012, so 10 years old. And it's still rock solid. Rock freaking solid. But it is now limited by the upgradability of the operating system, because they changed the chipsets. So I have to get another computer. And if I really want to have a 1-for-1 of this computer, but the upgraded version, it's going to be around $3,000. So I'm looking at like $4,500 worth of electronic equipment purchases. So I can't do that. That's not real. I could. I don't want to. So I'm thinking that I'm going to have to buy a computer and not get the camera. Or maybe get
Okay.
a really old camera and just start with that one. Like get a $600-700 used camera in not so great shape.
Yeah. I mean, they can still get done what needs to get done.
Right. I can still take pictures of the sky. It's just not going to be as good. And let's face it. I mean, it's if I have to throw away whatever I buy, I'm eventually going to move. In theory, going to move out of. Ultimately,
You want to start with some of the lower end stuff, just so like you can try it out. You can see, okay, what is this doing that's not enough,
right?
And
well,
so you know more specifically what you want to change.
$1,100 to $1,300, or $1,000 to $1,300 is the lower end.
No
The
choice.
$500 to $700 would be the lowest end. A little too not good. Like I will be limited. I will feel absolutely limited, and if I continue with it, almost immediately be like, yeah, I need a different camera. So, but if I have to chuck a $500 camera, that's not such a hard thing.
Yeah.
If I have to chuck an $1,100 camera, it might stay with me a little bit longer, but eventually I'm going to have to chuck it. And I mean, it'll hold its resale value. So, I see Wraith is saying, I'm out of practice. I have a guitar. I'm trying to make the guitar.
Oh, cool.
And if you gave me a random guitar, I'd likely to trade it in. I've actually joined giveaways just to do that. All right. So, new computer on the way, which it's going to be chaos. It's going to be hell to get
You just have to
everything sorted out, all the preferences done. And I don't have the preference guy anymore to set shit up. Like I could always be outside of the Apple world because Kevin knew the workarounds. I do not. I am going to be reliant upon Apple for the first time in my life. And so now I may very well learn what other people think. I may very well learn the reason why other people hate Apple. So, can we start the show now?
Yeah.
All right. All right. So we are already recording on video. We are about to start recording on audio. I have waveforms. Nick,
Hello, hello.
you
Test,
have
test.
waveforms.
Good.
Good. Let's go to our music. The right freaking music. All right. We're taking it off a loop. We are adding some volume. All right. We are starting the show. Quiet on the set.
This podcast discusses video games, modern culture, and technology, and these podcasters are big fat potty mouths. If you're younger than 18 or are easily offended, please stop this podcast now. Oh, and your mom says to take out the trash and do your homework.
Hello and welcome to GameHounds. GameHounds episode 650. 650 episodes. Yes, there's been 650 episodes of this. I'm Edie Sellers. With me is Nick DiNicola. How are you?
I'm good. 650 episodes old.
Well, you are. Do you remember which episode was your first episode?
Oh,
How
I have no
long
idea
ago was it?
what episode it was. It was probably 9 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, you were definitely in the 100s, maybe 200s. So you're definitely 400 episodes on. I am 650 episodes into this. So how are you? How's things? How was your week? Your 2 weeks. We have been off for 2 weeks. Nick had family things, and then he didn't have family things. So we didn't do a show because I couldn't get stuff together because I had a toilet. It didn't explode, but it stopped working, and I had to go to Ace Hardware and fix it.
It just disintegrated.
Yes, it disintegrated.
Pieces of it.
If you know how toilets work, inside your toilet there's a handle on the outside and there's like a little bar on the inside. And that bar is connected to a chain. That chain is connected to a little flap at the bottom of the tank that opens and lets all the water in the tank out into the bowl. That's how toilets work. Mine, I got up on Friday morning to go to the bathroom before I started work. I had a meeting. I flushed and the handle was weird. So I tried to flush again, and all of a sudden the handle was just like loose and it hadn't flushed. So I had to open it up, and the handle, the bar inside the toilet was made of plastic. And after literally decades of use, it just gave up the ghost. It just broke off. So I didn't have any time on Friday or Saturday, so I was having to like just pull the chain up every time I used the bathroom, reach into the tank, into the water, and pull the chain. But on Sunday, I because I had a free Sunday, I was like, I'll do it on Sunday. So I did, because I had to go to hardware store and everything. Got a replacement. It works fine. I can do toilets pretty well. They're pretty easy. But so we didn't do a show, because even though we could have, but what we ended up doing is a live stream. Nick and I played multiplayer Stardew Valley. Nick had never played Stardew Valley before.
It was okay.
Yeah, you didn't really get too far into it. That's the first time I've played multiplayer, and it is I really, really want to play more of it, because it doesn't change the game, but it sort of does. Because in Stardew Valley, certainly early on in the game, like certainly the first year, the currency is gold, but the other kind of currency is energy, stamina. And when you start, you have almost zero stamina. You can maybe plant just a few squares before you are out of energy. Well, if you have two people, that means you have essentially double the manpower to do stuff. So you can plant twice as much onto that farm. So it actually gives you a little bit of a leg up. But I want to see if there's any downside to it, if it actually materially changes the game. We didn't really get far into it because it took a long time for us to get going.
The one thing we noticed was that you have a shared pool of money. Mm-hmm. And so when we both went to buy seeds,
yes,
it confused it a little bit. It was like, you get seeds, you don't get seeds. And so all of a sudden you clicked buy, you got nothing, but your money was gone.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was like, Nick, you buy this kind of seeds, I'll buy the other kind of seeds with my money. And he bought all his seeds, and then was like, oh, where's my money? Oh, it pools your cash. Oh, okay. So
because in theory, that doesn't really hold you back any, because the economy is the same, even if it was one player. Mm-hmm. It's just, hey, you should keep track of this. Right.
So yeah, it was good, and I enjoyed it, and I wish we could have done more, but Nick had a very limited amount of time of being able to do it. But it took us a while, and Nick, bless your heart, you were really, really good about just going off on your own, because that's what you do. You freaking love to do that. I
explore.
Yeah, but you are also, hard.
I explore. I like
challenge
to
me.
I like to tinker with the systems.
You definitely challenge me. This is footage from us playing the game.
I always remember playing Portal, and I think some Portal multiplayer. My go-to, whenever I would enter a room in Portal, one of the first things I would do is look around. Is there a jump pad? I'm going to go to that jump pad, and it would fling me across somewhere.
Right.
And I would think, okay, why did it fling me here? But the point is, I would just jump on things, shoot things, toss a brick into a fire, and just
you should do that. You absolutely should do that in the game. But I was trying to show you too much. Like, I should have just let you go. And it's like, okay, go ahead and do what you need to do. But we would, you were knocking on doors, and it's like, and I knew that those doors were locked, and I should have just let you discover the doors were locked. So yeah, and we didn't even get into the dungeon crawling. We didn't get into some of the stories that are very deeper than you thought. I think that you think that this is a kid's game and it's a farming simulator, and it is a farming simulator partially.
I mean, I don't think it's a kid's game, but
But it's definitely not a kid's game.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I know it's more farming simulator.
It is an element of a farming simulator, which is the largest element, but the farming simulator is the way that you support your ability to do other things in this game. And of course, the early days is getting the farming simulator sorted out. So yeah, we definitely did that. And now, and Nick texted me a couple of days later and made a suggestion that since I've introduced him to Farming Simulator, that he should introduce me to, what was it?
The Forgotten City.
Forgotten City. Now, I did not have time to do that yesterday or the rest of the earlier in the week. That being said, should we do it like we did last week after the show? And we'll do it together. You introduce me to it. I introduced you to Farming Simulator. I'm assuming Forgotten City doesn't have multiplayer.
Yeah, it doesn't have multiplayer. I could watch you stream though and
right.
talk to you about it.
Right. That you introduce me to the stream.
AC Wraith. Show.
AC Wraith says, I was so hoping she'd say redacted, which means the game that shall not be named, which means Elden Ring, because Nick talks about it way freaking too much.
Oh yeah. If I could introduce you to any game, it would be that one. Not necessarily because I think that you would really enjoy it, but just because that would be fun.
I'm tempted.
Look,
I'm tempted that if you want to make it Elden Ring, I would do Elden Ring. But here's the thing: is I'd have to buy it for my PC, for my computer, not because then you can't watch it and stream it and everything.
Oh yeah,
which I don't have a problem with doing.
I would just say.
But if that's the game you want, if Forgotten City is the game you want me to go into,
Forgotten City definitely more so, because I think you would actually enjoy that.
Okay. Look, I would not enjoy Elden Ring.
Maybe not. Look, Elden Ring came out in February. By the time December rolls around, I'm sure it will be included in one of those like winter year-end sales things. If you were inclined to get it, I would wait for that.
All right. That was the name of the title of our stream, was Nick and Edie trying Stardew Valley. Blood Reaper says there is news of Redacted in the Discord. By the way, if you are not on our Discord, please feel free to join our Discord. We would love to have you. You can find that information. I believe it's on our Twitch page. I know it's on our Facebook page. I know it's on our YouTube page, because we're just right now streaming all three places. But if you want to see what it looks like, that's what the link looks like. Write it down, copy it out, whatever you need to do, join it. We'd love to have you. Also, if you're watching, don't forget, mash the follow button. Mash the follow button or subscribe button, whatever button there is wherever you're watching it. Mash it. And also, if you have an opportunity to like it or heart it or whatever, do it now, please. Thank you. All right. So we've talked about Stardew Valley. I'm still playing it. Right now, I'm playing it by cheating. Like I did with Skyrim. Remember, I went back to Skyrim, but I cheated. And it was so much more fun.
I mean, you didn't cheat though. You used the systems that were
Exploits.
all in place. You didn't add any code to it. You just used what was there.
Exactly. I am using exploits. And it's exploiting the shit out of it. And I'm having a great time.
Okay.
So your energy is, I mean, if you get everything in the game, they call them star drops, that actually increase your energy, like your energy bar makes it bigger. My energy bar, you can only get to 500 energy if you get every star drop. I think my energy is at 3,000 right now because I've used exploits. The energy bar is literally off the screen. Like the top of the bar, it's just off the screen somewhere in space.
So you can plant and hack
all day long.
Entire force down.
The only thing that limits me is the clock, because of course you naturally fall asleep at 2 a.m. Even when you're still got energy, you will fall asleep at 2 a.m. So you have to go to sleep. That's the only thing that's limiting me right now. And I have unlimited money. I have unlimited cash, and if I want any more cash, I sell a cow and then buy it back and rename it in the way that's going to give me more cash.
Naming a cow increases its value?
It's not an unknown exploit. In fact, I know that, Concerned Ape knows all about this. They've known about it for a long time. If each of the items in the game has a code number from 1 to like 900 or something, 999. So like grass has a code of 1. Stone has a code of 2. So if it's in your inventory, it's something that has a code to it. If you name your character a code for an item, or you can get up to 3 codes together for items. Every time a character says your name in the game, it gives you those 3 things. So I named mine for Star Drops, Iridium sprinklers, which are the best automatic sprinklers in the game, and treasure chests, which sell for $5,000 a piece. So every time somebody says my name in the game, and it happens a lot, then you get that. You get those things in your inventory. So I'm up well above $1 million now. And I'm just entering winter of year 1, which is ludicrous. It's nice though, because there's so much in this game that I didn't know about when I played it the first time on console. I don't know if it has been added since then or I just missed it. But there's so much in this game, so many places. There's a whole fucking island I didn't even know about. That's essentially another half of the game that I didn't know about. But you have to cultivate friendships. And when you're playing the game, ain't nobody got time to cultivate friendships because you're grinding for cash because you need stuff. Because you need to get to you're going into mines. If you're going into mines, you have to have the money to support you to go into mines, which means you have to spend a good amount of your time farming. But when you got unlimited cash
and money's not an issue,
and you got the world's best sprinklers anyway, everything's on your whole farm is freaking completely automated. Your ducks, your cows, your chickens, your rabbits, everything is automatically fed. The only thing that's not automatically fed is your cat or dog, as the case may be, because the water dish. But as soon as you get married, then your husband/wife will water the cat. So then you don't even need that. And there's a whole having a family that I actually really should get married, because by the time you have a family and you're past year 2, and I wonder if that person grows up, does that person help you on the farm? Does that person start relationships of their own? I don't know. But now I have the luxury to be able to find all these things.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's what I'm doing, and I'm enjoying the hell out of it. And I think you would enjoy this game much more if you were cheating too.
Maybe.
Because the thing you were complained about was that fact that you couldn't do anything at the beginning of the game.
Yeah, the fact that I felt so limited in what I could do. It's like, it felt like the game was giving me 10 things to do and then only allowing me to do 2 things at a time, or 2 things per day. And it's like, well, this isn't fun. And this doesn't feel like time management. This is just I cannot do what you want me to do. And
yeah, it's not. It is time management. It's not really so much time management but resource management. And one of the resources is your physical abilities. But 2 things. One thing is that because they limit your energy at the beginning of the game so much, when that increases and it becomes less of an issue, it feels so much better. It gives you a sense of accomplishment, because you can upgrade your tools so that instead of it something taking 5 whacks at it to break, it takes 1 whack. And then it slowly builds itself by making decisions and improving yourself, improving your tools, improving your land, essentially, being able to craft materials or equipment that will allow things to be automated. All of a sudden, you get this time to be able to do the things that you want to do.
Yeah. My frustration is that I feel like by the time I get to that point where I have the energy and the ability to go do other things, I'll have missed out on most of those other things.
Right.
I won't have talked to the right people at the right time to cultivate friendships. I won't have done things like that. I'll have missed out on a whole lot of story and character stuff.
That's absolutely true. But at the same time, it's a really freaking big story, and that you have 2 years. The 2 years are identical. It's just when you want to start that part of finding stories. And the 2 years is only like the first benchmark. You can keep going. You can go for 100 years if you want. So it lengthens the game because you have to start at nothing. You have to start at dirt level, pun intended, and work your way up. And
so
it does create that sense of accomplishment when you actually do get to have the freedom to, I can spend 4 days in a row diving down into the bottom of the mine, and then discovering the end of the mine, and then being given this key, and then somehow later, that's a second mine, and then making friends with somebody who will take you to an island, and it's like, there's a third mine.
So you're saying like the stories for the characters basically repeat for each year. So in theory, if I spend the first year purely focused on farming, and then the second year I focused on the relationships, I wouldn't necessarily miss anything. Okay, that's actually good to know.
No, it's not like timed quests, not at all. In that first year, you are expected to do exactly that. You focus on farming, and on rainy days when you don't have to water your crops, you go into the mine and you dive into the mine so that you can get ore, so that you can build things to make everything automated. And then by the end of winter, usually like the next spring is going to be easier than the first spring. The second summer is easier than the second summer. And you can start your cultivating friendships at any time, and it doesn't change anything.
Yeah. Like AC Wraith said, he tends to like things that only start when he initiates them. I get that.
That's exactly what this is. And the things don't start until you initiate them, and you can stop in the middle of it and not do anything.
It's the fact that you're saying you can stop in the middle and then pick it up again later on.
Yeah, I've got. I'm also doing a lot of really crazy stuff. Like, I have been able to cultivate friendships for everybody. I don't know, like huge amount of friendships, like full on. And in the past I played it, I chose one person to make my boyfriend, and then that one person I proposed, and that one person I married and had children with. This time, because I've got so many people that are so high reputation, they like me so much. I just bought and I have also a lot of money. I bought a whole bunch of bouquets. That's how you get them to be your boyfriend. I bought a whole stack of bouquets and handed them out to everybody. So I've got like 7 boyfriends, and they're all like progressing their relationship with me. And I haven't proposed to any of them and then there's some of them that are like intimating that they really want to be my boyfriend. So I'm dating around.
Okay, yeah, you're a player.
I'm a player. And that's the kind of the beauty of this game is that you play it the way you want to play it. You might start with wanting to cultivate all the friendships and the relationships first, and then do the actual rest of the game later. The actual planting and everything else later.
AC Wraith had also mentioned that when you're done, you might want to try Graveyard Keeper.
Graveyard Keeper. I've never heard of this.
I saw it at a PAX a long time ago, and it was kind of like Stardew Valley in a graveyard.
I'm intrigued because I never thought I'd like Stardew Valley when I started it. It sounded interesting. It was a farming simulator, like you did. It's a farming simulator, and then I realized very quickly it is way more than a farming simulator. Very compelling individual stories and your own story of being in this small town and being the new person in this small town. Anyway, so moving right along. Any other games that you have, or that's all in game I've really played that is of note, and we played it together. But tonight we will play Forgotten City. I'm assuming is it available for Max on?
Maybe. Well, and I don't know. I don't know if I can play tonight. It's the last day that Rachel's parents will be in town.
Oh, okay. All right. Let's see. The Forgotten City. It is. What is it? Come on. What's it for? Where's the little symbols that tells me what it's for? Darn it. I can't see what it's for. I'm on Steam right now. Am I missing this?
Excuse me. Here was search.
By the Forgotten. Oh, it's just fucking smack. I mean, it's Windows only. It's Windows only. God dang it! All right, well maybe I'll set up my my laptop on my work computer, my dual screen work computer system. I'll just pull out my work computer and plug in everything else, and it works fine.
Because it's on Game Pass. That's where I played it.
Mm-hmm.
If you streamed it there, I guess I could watch the Twitch stream, but it would be a couple seconds off.
Yeah, and then we'd have to have the audio through Discord. It would just be... Oh, no, I guess we could have the audio through... Yeah, that's it. It would be awkward. So I'll just do it on... buy it on PC. It's fine. It's fine. So, what did you play?
I played more of the game that shall not be named.
Of course.
But one of the things I want to show is that the reason I got back into it is because Patrick Klepek on Waypoint has started playing through it. Like the past several weeks, he's spent one day a week, just like 6 to 8 hours straight Elden Ring. And
Wow,
because
that's hardcore.
because he's like, I want to finish this game. I'm not going to do it on my own time, so I'm just going to turn it into content for the website.
Smart.
And he kind of stopped at the same place I did. So I've been seeing like all the stuff right ahead of me, and that made me want to get back into it. But in doing so, I also realized this is the whole map of Elden Ring. I stopped around here. Can you see my cursor?
I can.
Okay, you can. Good.
I can see that you can zoom in. You can just click and zoom in. There we go.
I stopped around the big yellow tree. This is the capital city just to the left. And that's kind of where I stopped. And I thought, oh, I've got the capital city, and then there's a secret area that I visited, and then like snow. And I was like, the snow area, the secret area, the city, that's all I got left. Turns out the snowy area is a lot bigger than I thought it was, because it's actually like 3-4 different areas combined. And then there's a whole other like
Island
vertical tree over here.
Tree. Okay.
And a whole thing over here, plus some underground stuff that you can't even see on this map. And what I realized is like,
holy shit, this is a big game.
yes, I'm right here, and I'm 120 hours in, and looking at all this.
And
other
where did you start to get 120 hours in?
I started around here.
Okay. So you've explored that whole lower area, correct?
Oh yeah, I've explored. One of the reasons it's taken me 120 hours is because I've had like guides open to show me quests, and I've looked at videos of things you may have missed in X area. So I have explored the heck out of all these areas here.
Nick is a completionist, an absolute completionist.
Everything up there. It even got to the point where somewhere I discovered like a teleporter that teleported me into the city. But I thought, I don't want to be here yet because I haven't explored this area. I can't jump ahead. So I went back and just continued to work my way slowly around the whole area.
You're having a Stardew Valley moment.
Yes.
When you're like, holy shit, when you find out that, oh my God, I missed like 2/3 of the game.
It's one of those things. Like I said, this game came out in February. I think I might still be playing it by the end of the year.
You might be paying it for a full year.
I remember the PlayStation keeps track of how long you've been playing a game. And I remember when I first got the PS5, looking through it, I think the longest time on that list was that first-person medieval game, Kingdom Come Deliverance.
Mm-hmm.
And I had put like 130, 140 hours into it.
Did you really spend that much on that? Because I did too.
I did not realize I put that much time into it. But
it's such a good game.
And I never finished it.
Oh, you didn't? Oh, I actually finished it. I don't know how many hours I put in. Do we still... Because I know does it PlayStation that shows you what games that you've played?
Yes.
The most?
Yeah.
Is that page still active? And what's the URL? Because I'd like to know how many hours I put into that game.
I know I could access it through the console. I don't know if I can access it through the website.
AC Ray says, and I've played all of it. Thank you, Edie. You're welcome.
So,
did I do that justice? By the way, that dramatic reading.
He has 190 hours on record, and he stopped right before the final boss. So, in theory, I'm right on track. AC Ray.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just that moment when I realize, oh shit, I've been playing this a lot, and there's still a lot left, and I don't want to stop.
Yeah.
I took my break, and now I'm back into it, and it's like I don't want to stop.
It got your hooks into it. It's heroin. It's crack. I don't know why I said that Stardew Valley is crack. Because Elden Ring is crack. That is definitely your drug of choice.
And the funny thing is, I remember before this game came out, there were rumors that
Yeah.
it would be a shorter than average game for From Software. There were rumors that like, it would only take you about 30 hours because it's an open world game and so it's smaller than their usual games.
Nope.
Oh.
All right. So, any other games that you played?
I've been playing more of the free-to-play Octopath Traveler game, and that one just continues to be good. Simple little anthology stories. Story of this rich woman who's kind of taking over the drug trade of this town, and me having to stop her. The story of a hunter trying to get revenge on the monster that killed their team, and just little things like that. And it continues to be a game that I've earned enough of like the premium currency that I play the gacha system and get new characters. And like I've put a good solid chunk of time into it without spending a penny. So yeah, I'm interested to see what they do next.
Good.
Well, I'm interested to see what that game throws at me next, because I can play like it's consists of a whole bunch of little anthology stories that are all broken up into chapters. I can play it for like 10, 20 minutes at a time, hit a good stopping point, go do something else. So it's a good like iPad game.
Okay. Good. Anything else?
That is it.
All right. So we have a lot of news to cover. So shall we hit the news? All right. Let's hit the news. This is the GameHounds News, the news, views, and commentary of the week in gaming with Gamer Edie and Nick DiNicola. And our first item is...
I feel like there are two things that could be top of the fold. There's
a lot of things that could be top of the fold
this
week.
There's a bunch of Sony stuff, but then there's also Gamescom.
Yeah, I think Gamescom is the big top of the fold. Because it kind of leads into the Sony thing.
Okay.
We'll talk about how it leads, but yes. So Gamescom.
Yeah. Gamescom was out. They had their opening night where they showed off a whole bunch of, upcoming video games.
Yes, they did.
It was the E3 that E3 wasn't.
Right.
And I have a little list of the things that stood out the most to me. And I have a little page up here that I will share in a second that basically has a bunch of trailers. First, probably the biggest one that came out is...
Sorry. My bad.
What?
That was, I had a thing in my headset that was the Gamescom opening night that I was going to put up. So here's what you should do, Nick, in this case. On that watch on YouTube, watch it on YouTube and then put it to full screen.
Yeah.
There you go. All right. So the first one, that was the big announcement. Dead Island 2. It was, the and one more thing announcement. I'm excited. I am not as excited because didn't they have a Dead Island sequel and it was all right?
Yes, it's dying. No, they had a Dead Island Riptide,
right?
Which was kind of Dead Island 2. It was more of Dead Island. I feel like Dying Light was the true sequel to Dead Island. And now we have Dying Light 2 already out. So Dead Island 2 feels like a sequel to a game that was already dated and superseded by its spiritual predecessor.
Right.
Canon.
Successor.
Yeah, successor.
Yeah.
So I don't know what Dead Island 2 will bring to, I don't know, the zombie genre to make it stand out.
Yeah. If you forward it to the actual trailer, or is that actually? No, I think that's just
it'll
the
get to
announcement.
it.
There we go. There it is. Into the actual trailer. If you keep moving forward, about halfway through the trailer, closer to the end, actually, you see him walk out of his apartment. Oh, this is the actual gameplay. It's not the trailer.
This is a trailer.
No, that's the gameplay trailer. It's not the cinematic trailer.
Oh,
Let me see if I can get to the cinematic trailer for you. Pull yours off.
is the cinematic trailer the one that
The guy sitting in his living room, going out for milk or something like that.
Yeah, they showed that off like years ago.
Oh, did they? Okay.
Yeah.
Because this one feels, if you move forward in this one, you will see that.
This one's new.
Yeah.
One looks new.
Yeah, if you see, he goes out, he comes back in, he realizes he doesn't have, he needs batteries for his controller. He goes back out, and in the street, he sees a bunch of other people fighting zombies. And I'm wondering if that means that this will be, well, no, Dead Island 2 was multiplayer. I'm trying to think that if this means it was multiplayer, but Dead Island 2 was multiplayer, right? Yeah, we played it together. Or Dead Island 1. Yeah, I don't know what I'm thinking. Yeah, it's obviously going to be leaning heavier into the multiplayer, which is good, but I'm super not as interested as you might think. And it's also coming out fairly soon, February 3rd, which I found really surprising.
And I saw interviews where they talked up the gore tech, and that was kind of their big thing. Is one of the interviews
tech.
said that the director or whoever was being interviewed from the team was really excited about fire, because they if you set a zombie on fire, you can see the skin melt and you can see the muscle melt and the bone underneath. And he was very excited about the extreme gore.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know, maybe I'm just getting older, but I don't know if that speaks to me anymore.
Exactly. That's how I felt when I was like, great, good. But if I'm playing for a game just for gore, there's a lot of really bad games that are very, very gory.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not necessarily an appealing sense to me. But I'm excited. A lot of people, I was watching on a stream with someone, somebody else hosting a stream. A lot of people very, very excited about it. When I saw it, between the music, the trailer, the cinematic trailer, between the music and the kind of the look, I thought, is it Beyond Good and Evil? Is it Beyond Good and Evil? And of course, no, it wasn't, because it was funk music, and it just had that feel of maybe it might be. I'm sure it's fine. It does not necessarily float my boat as much as some people. I just see that maybe I'm just out of touch with the young folk, but I just didn't see that it being the and one more thing worthy, announcement that they made it. So what else was announced?
One of the things that spoke to me is this game called Lies of P.
Yes, I heard about this, but I missed the trailer. It was announced before I got into the stream.
It's basically a Bloodborne inspiration. It's a Bloodborne-esque game. It wants to be Bloodborne, which I am 100% for obvious reasons.
Mm-hmm.
But what's kind of funny about it is that when they say Lies of P, who they're talking about, do you know what P stands for? Do you know who P is?
No.
P is Pinocchio. This is like a
fairy tale gone wrong.
A Souls-esque super goth Japanese Pinocchio.
Okay, I'm down for that. That's crazy enough that sounds interesting.
Yeah. And so
are you the Pinocchio? Do you play P?
Yes, because as part of that, because you're not a real boy, that gives you the ability to like augment your arm and augment your equipment and stuff like that. See, oh, see, we got Pretty Boy Pinocchio. Let's get to some gameplay here.
Because Pinocchio is a pretty dark story.
Oh yeah, and you know what? It's funny that this is coming out. I forget the release date, but it's relatively soon, because I think at the end of this year, Disney Plus has a Pinocchio movie coming out, and Netflix also has a Pinocchio movie coming out at the same time. There's going to be dueling Pinocchio movies on streaming services this December.
Now, question. Was Pinocchio an older story that was told by Disney?
Yes.
Okay. Because, you know, that it might have to do with the fact that Disney's IP ownership, their copyright on certain stuff is starting to go away.
Well, it's also just the fact that the Netflix one is probably more inspired by the original story.
Right.
Which, also, the Netflix one is directed by Guillermo del Toro, so I'm very excited about that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, God. Me too. Now, who wrote Pinocchio? Pinocchio. Who wrote? Carlo Collodi. His name is mentioned in the Liza P.
Oh,
yeah. 130 years ago on July 7th, 1881. I will bet you that that's the release date. That's right at the perfect summer release. I will bet you. AC Wraith, write this down. I predict the release date. Did they have a release date on that?
Oh.
It would be at the end of the trailer.
Oh, 2023.
Nope. My prediction, July 7th, 2023.
Okay.
That is such a perfect day for release. Anyway, all right, moving right along.
Yeah, moving along. The other thing that stood out to me is this game called Atlas Falling, which is made by another Souls-like game, because I have a type. But this is from the developers of The Surge, which is probably one of the more interesting and like unique and original Souls-like to come out, because The Surge wasn't just ripping off something. It was like, hey, let's take this format and kind of do something a little different with it. And so that developer is basically making sand bending the video game.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm excited for it. I'm interested to see what they do with it, because let's get to some of the actual gameplay at the very end. It's people controlling sand and like skiing across the sand that looks cool, of nice maneuverability.
Chaos says, did you guys watch the Everywhere game portion? Gave me an aneurysm. I did not.
I watched Everywhere. I watched that. I'm not particularly interested in that at all. It just looked like a. It just looked like
for the bookmark for that prediction.
A strategy game. I don't know what Everywhere is trying to be, but it wasn't interesting.
Are you going to talk about it? Is it one of the previews? I want to see I want to get an aneurysm.
Okay. Well, okay. First,
Give me an aneurysm.
First, I'll say one of the interesting things. I won't play the trailer. Deck 13, the developers of The Surge, who are making Atlas Falling that I just talked about.
Mm-hmm.
Their first game, well, not the first game, but their previous game was Lords of the Fallen, which is like one of the first Dark Souls ripoffs to come out.
Mm-hmm.
They are now remaking that, rebooting that first game as the Lords of the Fallen. So it's
going back to the well a second time. Well,
but
maybe they think that Atlas Falling will be such a hit that people will want to rediscover Lords of the Fallen.
And here's the thing. Lords of the Fallen, it was like, oh, this is a good attempt at making your own Dark Souls, but it kind of felt off. I'm interested to see what they do, having learned to make this type of game by The Surge, both of which were really good, taking that knowledge back to the Lords of the Fallen. And I think they could do something interesting with it to make the game that they originally wanted to make, right? That
Right.
type. Let's see. Oh, okay. Here's everything. This is everything. And yeah, I don't know. It's a strategy top down game. It's from it's coming from a studio that was founded by an ex Rockstar member. Leslie Benzies, who's most known for working at Rockstar and kind of shepherding GTA. He left. He created a studio. They're now making this game. I don't know what it is. Here, do we want to put some sound on?
No. So they're just showing stills at this point. It's that early in development.
Some stills. They've got some video. Come on, let's see. There we go. Yeah.
Oh, I could see that being aneurysm time. Yeah, it's a little too bright. A little too what?
Yeah. I don't know what the game is.
All right. So, yeah, I think that's a very stylish trailer about something we don't know what it is. That's way too bright.
It spent about almost 3 minutes talking about something and saying nothing. I felt. I gotta keep scrolling down.
Andrew says, I would not watch it without video or without audio. It's not worth it. The trailer doesn't show much.
Not worth it.
It's more about what they say. Okay. It's not the game. Okay. Got it. No one does. They spent 2.5 fucking minutes fucking nothing. Yeah. That's a kind of standard. There's got to be one game that is either a trailer that looks pretty that you have no idea what it is, or a bunch of people talking corporate speak that they don't, that clearly is a bunch of guys got together and they're just kind of at this point throwing ideas off of each other.
They're just trying to, this is what we planned to do. Who knows if we actually get to do it?
Yeah. AC Ray says it is an open world game.
Lots of things are open world.
Yeah.
Anyways, there was also another video for the Callisto Protocol, the Dead Space like from the developer of Dead Space that continues to look a lot like Dead Space. And I don't mean that to be dismissive, but there's also like, hey, it looks like Dead Space. There's a game about killer clowns.
Oh my gosh, they're doing a video game of that. I mean, I remember when that movie came out. I was in college when that movie came out. So I remember this movie very much so. What was the driving game with clowns in it? Twisted Metal.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It gives me feelings of that.
It looks a lot like Dead by Daylight. It's that type of game.
Yeah, I can see it.
But the new Telltale is making an Expanse game, which could be okay. It might be interesting. Let's see what the new Telltale does.
Right.
But what stood out,
I also have to watch the last season of Expanse. I can't quite bring myself to that. Umbrella Academy, The Expanse, and what's the one? I Am Uhtred, Son of Uhtred.
Last Kingdom.
Last Kingdom. Those are the three I can't do just yet, but I will. Oh, and Stranger Things. I will do those, but not right now.
Wait, what screen are you seeing?
I am seeing your Kotaku screen.
Oh, okay. Let me
You have to copy and paste it into the actual screen that is being transmitted.
Oh, okay.
But it opens up a new tab. It doesn't go with you.
There.
All right.
I will say I actually bought some Viking mead, and I'm waiting for the parents to go back so that one day I can sit down late at night, open a bottle of Viking mead, and start watching Last Kingdom again.
So hit play on that one, by the way. We're stilled.
Yeah, I want to preface this by saying this is the game that stood out to me.
Oh, same with Chaos. He's like, that's a game that I really interested in. So Andrew says, I wish I was in stream so I could rage a bit. LMAO. I was not a fan of Gamescom.
Really? Why
Yeah.
not? I mean, it was kind of better than E3.
Yeah.
So I remember watching this video, and at this point,
Oh, take off the captioning.
oh yeah, let's see.
Right side. There we go.
I was watching this, and I was like, it looks like it's a CG cutscene. That's all.
Yeah.
The east wind blew against my god. Oh god,
It's Ghost of Tsushima. Somebody saw Ghost of Tsushima and is making another game to get all the people that play Ghost of Tsushima to play, feudal Japan again.
This all looks like some pretentious bullshit.
Yep.
And I'm just like, meh.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty, but is it a game?
Yeah, and I was like, it looks good, but also it's a CG cutscene. Like
Right.
CG cutscenes absolutely look good.
Right. And I used to say that at E3 all the time. It's like, that's just a cutscene. Don't get too excited. It's just a cut. It's not the game. They can make the story look as great as it is. It doesn't actually show you what the game looks like.
And then they started showing what the game looks like.
And then
I
it looks
thought-
like Ghost of Tsushima.
But you know what? That's a very pretty looking Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my god, climbing. I like climbing.
Right?
I like Assassin's Creed. I'm intrigued by this. Okay.
Boats.
Like shooting, walking on. Okay. There's like some real Prince of Persia
Parkour.
jumping and parkouring, like triple jumping in the air. I'm like, okay, this actually looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
Then you get into some stealth combat, and like the way that you counter people, there's like a Souls-esque quality to it. I'm like, okay, this actually looks really awesome. I'm really into what this combat looks like.
It's
It
taking
looks
a lot of the best parts of your favorite games and putting it all into one game.
Mm-hmm.
Which might be good. It also might be very, very bad.
It might be, but you know what? And okay, now it gets into like weird ass cosmic horror shit. This is like my
Final
thing.
Fantasy-ish. Yeah. Oh, okay. This feels different.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It definitely wants to do. It is a jack of all trades. The question is it a master of any?
It stands out. Like
Yeah.
by the end of this trailer, I was like, okay, this looks unique.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like it's taking a bunch of elements from other games, but it's combining them into something that really looks like it's its own thing.
Mm-hmm.
Weird, creepy guy sitting atop a giant Buddhist statue among like desolation. There's some real like Berserk vibes from this that I am so into.
Yeah, I can see it. I'm curious. Super, super curious. Was there a date on it, or
I think it's next year.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, I'm impressed. So any other
I'll say
stuff?
I don't think I need to show the video. There was a new Quantic Dreams game called Under the Waves, which like, hey, look, Quantic Dreams is making an underwater game. I'm intrigued to see what they do. I still like Heavy Rain, even if nothing they made since then has been as good as Heavy Rain. And
I would
Heavy Rain
argue
is
I would
even-
argue against that. I would argue that everything they've made since then is about as good as Heavy Rain was. I hated Heavy Rain. Hated it. And we have talked about how much I have hated Heavy Rain and how much you and I don't disagree with that.
You know what? One of these days we need to stream Heavy Rain together.
Oh. I'm down for that because it has occurred to me. What year did it come out? It was a long time ago.
Yeah.
I am wondering if A, it holds up for you, and B, it's any better for me after all these years. Because you and I were so like that's the one game we really disagreed with, like to the point of a fight. And I don't think we've ever had a game that we have disagreed with to that degree.
Yeah.
We really should go back and revisit Heavy Rain.
Oh, 2010.
So we're talking 12 years ago.
Mm-hmm. And I know I know they put out like a combination Heavy Rain
Jason,
update.
AC Wraith even wrote it. With all the A's in Jason.
Oh yeah. And I think they put out like a PS5 version of it that was on one of the free games one month, so I should have it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Chaos says, I graduated high school in 2010. Yeah, so yeah. All right, so I will put that down as two things. One, we will stream Forgotten City, not tonight, but sometime this week. Mm-hmm. And then maybe next week we will stream going back together to play Heavy Rain to see if we will move off of our positions, off of our soapboxes.
Mm-hmm. And I think that was it that stood out to me. There was one more game called Scars Above that was like a sci-fi horror game that ticked a lot of my personal boxes. Mm-hmm. But
Chaos says 10-minute gameplay reveal of Forspoken. The combat and movement looks amazing. A bit disappointed with the rest. Need to play the game.
I haven't seen that, but I want to. But from what I've seen of those trailers, I think the combat and movement is what stood out most about that game.
Yeah.
And yeah, overall, I thought the opening night was actually really cool. Because like I said, I got more out of watching that stream, more of a sense of the classic E3 excitement than I did for anything that happened over this course of the summer.
I think thinking that this year, more than any other year, that people are starting to miss the hype of E3. And I'm not going to lie, I kind of am too. Mm-hmm. Like the first 2 years was like, fuck E3. I hate E3. Fuck those guys. Fuck those guys. And this year was like, E3's dead. Good. They deserve to be dead. But then this summer came and went, and it's like, man, really wish that there had been like a big game, like reveal where we could all get together and watch it and make our decisions for it. And Gamescom was kind of close to it, but it's also not.
Moment, for me, it was that moment of watching the Where Winds Meet trailer. Was like, okay, this is a game I haven't heard of. Fuck yeah, I want that.
Yeah,
like that process of getting excited for something.
There's the Forspoken gameplay trailer for the link for it.
And Andrew said that, oops, we clicked at the same time. So many space games, which as someone who likes space games, I think that's only a good thing.
I can live without space. I like my games a little more terrestrial, but I'm not saying that I won't play space games, but anyway.
So yeah, that was
our Gamescom.
Gamescom. Yeah.
All right. So the thing that I said that was going to dovetail into it was Sony had an announcement that they, I know, put right before Gamescom, hoping that Gamescom would soften the blow. Like, maybe it might just get buried a little bit. Maybe people wouldn't be they'd be distracted by Gamescom. Nope. They did not. Their announcement, they weren't at Gamescom this year, probably because they knew they were going to drop this announcement just before Gamescom, and they didn't want to have to answer any questions. They made the announcement that the PS5's price will be going up. You know where you put it. Can you find it? There we go. We got Sony raising price. There we go. PS5's price is going up in most global markets. US is not one of them, but a lot of other ones. So this is going to happen September 15th across dozens of markets in the world, including the UK, Europe, Canada, Japan, surprisingly in their home country of Japan. So here's what the price is going to be. In Europe, they're raising it by 50 euros. So the disc-based model is now going to be $549.99. The digital edition without the hard drive, $499.99. In the UK, they're raising it £30, which is about $50. And a euro is about $1 right now. The disc-based model, $479.99. Digital edition, £389.99. In Japan, they're raising it 5,000 yen, 54,980 yen, and 980 yen for disc and digital, respectively. China, they are raising it 400 yuan. Australia, they're raising it 50 Australian dollars. It's expensive in Australia, but then again, the Australian dollar's worth less. But it's $799.95 Australian for the disc-based model. Mexico, they're raising it 1,000 pesos. In Canada, they're raising it 20 Canadian dollars. So, yeah.
I've heard that the only reason they're not doing it in the US is because that's where they have the most competition with Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like,
it would be the deal breaker. It would be the deal breaker in the United States for the PS5.
Competition everywhere else, so we could do this. But we're kind of close in the US, so let's.
This is why competition is healthy for a market. Jim Ryan, the president and CEO of Sony Interactive Entertainment, said in this blog post, quote, "While this price increase is a necessity given the current global economic environment and its impact on SIE's business, our top priority continues to be improving the PS5 supply situation so that as many players as possible can experience everything that PS5 offers and what's still to come." They have said that they've done much better with their supply chain in recent months. Like several months, it's gotten better, and it has gotten better. But that this is not going over well. People are pissed, especially simply because there is this giant market, the big market, that isn't having it happen. Yeah. Like this is what you get for being loyal to PlayStation.
Well, what's
get a price increase
is like graphics card prices went up during the pandemic for a lot of reasons. Right. But they've now started to go down. Like they've started to stabilize again. In fact, there was a news story in Discord that Blood Reaper put in there about this, about how graphics card prices are stabilizing and it's becoming easier to get them. Like
I mentioned that last week. I knew that it
is gone. This doesn't feel
because of the cryptocurrency, because the destruction of the cryptocurrency market, because the cryptocurrency market is finally doing what it was always destined to do, and that was fail. And taking billions with them.
Weird that shortage price, whatever, would stabilize, but then Sony's going to increase the price here.
Right.
And I don't know enough about inflation to really comment on why that would make them want to increase the prices. Because all the parts cost more. Everything costs more now. It costs
inflation, especially global inflation like this, every part that they put into it now costs more to buy. Every person that handles it, whatever service they're using, costs more to buy, to employ. Individuals, like employees, not, but like anything that goes into making that console now costs more, like 7 to 9% more. Shipping fees all cost more because, of course, gas is more expensive. Fuel is more expensive. Everything's more expensive. So when you're pricing something, you want to make that price a certain percentage of profit over the actual cost of the goods. And Sony doesn't sell, I don't know if they're doing it now. They don't sell that at a profit just yet.
Yeah, I think they've always taken a loss on the console.
They take a loss early because it's so expensive early on to produce it. But the more that you produce, the cheaper it's supposed to get. In this case, the more that they produce, the more expensive it's gotten to happen because there has been this global inflation. So this is very different than years past. And so they're having to compensate for that because now they're selling it so much farther below their price loss that they were calculating that they got to do something. Everybody's price is going up.
It's still a really shitty look.
Yes, but people are focusing, and I am not a Sony apologist in any way. I think the fact that they didn't raise it in the United States is the shittiest part. Not that I think, like, I want it to be raised in the United States, but the fact that they excluded the United States is problematic. It's screwing over your most loyal fans. But Sony is not the only company that is raising prices right now.
Meta did this just a couple weeks ago.
Just a couple weeks. The Oculus Quest 2 is going to be $100 more. That's a 25% increase.
I was saying it was really stupid then too.
Right. Well, because it's now costing more, and because, well, Facebook has its own reasons because it's losing so much money on top of it. Yeah, there's other things. In fact, the next item, this kind of dovetails into the next item. It's not just hardware, it's software. This week, Paradox announced that it is doubling the price of the game's DLC. And yeah, we're talking about previously released DLC, not just new coming DLC, which is, we're used to that. Like, oh, the next batch of DLC is going to be more expensive. No, it's like what's on the screen right now that you could buy is going to be doubling in a couple of weeks. So they have two current flavor packs, the Northern Lords and the Fate of Iberia. I've talked about them on the show, and Fate of Iberia is fantastic. Northern Lords is good. Fate of Iberia is fantastic. They are currently priced at $6.99 each. Beginning September 13th, right about the time that the Sony PlayStation goes up, all those two flavor packs and all future flavor packs are going to be $12.99. So Paradox on its forum said that it was, quote, altering the prices of our flavor packs to reflect the overall value of this kind of content moving forward. Yes, also because everything costs more now. Everything costs more. Even though it's, written by them and digitally done by them, everything is costing more. Freaking electricity to keep their building on is costing more. Everything. So yeah, that makes sense. And they do deliver really, really good flavor packs. Honestly, Fate of Iberia is well worth $12.99. But, and if you care, they did not change the price of the Royal Court expansion, which was $29.99, is $29.99. So everything, the Post says everything in U.S. dollar prices. So we don't know what the price change is going to be in other regions. So it's safe to assume that, it is safe to assume that prices are going to go up for everyone. It hit people as a weird move for Paradox because, one, it upsets the community, rightfully so. The first commenter in the forum after the announcement in the forum said, quote, changing the price of old DLC that was well worth its price is just shooting yourself in the foot in the eyes of the community. Which comes to a kind of a second point that I have for this, is that it doesn't make sense because it doesn't significantly really increase their revenue. It just serves to reduce the number of new players. Because right now, everybody who plays Crusader Kings 3 are, faithful fans that are just diehards into it. They already have these packs. Or if they don't, they're about to buy them.
Yeah.
So right now, the packs cost 90. I mean, if you want to buy the whole suite of stuff, the flavor packs, the expansion, the base game, it's $94 on Steam without anything being on sale. That's going to increase to $108. You are crossing this kind of mythological line of over $100. You go from it being under 100 to over 100, and that's a really important benchmark. Even though it is only $12 difference or $14 difference, it does play into your head a little bit of you're spending over $100.
But I do think that I think it's good that they're doing it for the DLC. Because if they're doing it for the base game, that's a different story.
The base game is already $50.
Yeah, but that's the normal price, and it goes on sale whenever it regularly does. But there's a difference between doing it for the base game and DLC, because doing it for the base game, I think, would really prevent new people from getting into it. But doing it for the DLC means that you're already invested in the game.
True.
Right?
You're already halfway there.
It's less shooting yourself in the foot because someone needs to play the game and already be invested enough to want to buy more. So it's not like they're preventing new people from getting in, because that original barrier to entry of the original game is the same as it's always been.
Good point. You do make a good point on that. So by the way, if incidentally, if you like Crusader Kings, if you played with the Crusader Kings, if you were interested in Crusader Kings, I would pick it up, at least pick up the DLC now. Spend the $14 and then, wait for the game to go on sale. But yeah, buy them now because they're about to double in price. We're just going to have to get used to the idea that things are going to be more expensive for the time being until our global economy sorts itself out. We knew there was trouble coming when the pandemic happened, and it interrupted the normal flow of stuff. And it has. And even though people are saying, oh, it's not connected to the damn pandemic. Yeah, it is. It is sort of. Everything was cruising along until something came and fucked up the cruise. And now getting things back in and online and running the way it used to be. Plus, we've got this fucking war going on where global food supplies are now being questioned about whether they're even going to be there. Then we've got this fucking war that Russia is turning off and on the gas whenever it fucking feels like it. Yeah, that's absolutely playing into all of that shit. So it's kind of a perfect storm for this to happen. It will all get settled out. It will get sorted, but it's going to take some time, and we're going to have to get used to the idea that things are going to be pretty expensive for a while.
And using it as a segue, some people in the UK are very upset about that and have sued Sony for about $6 billion. Basically,
actually, it's a class action suit being led by this one person who is an activist. But yes.
Oh, is it? I saw it's from a consumer rights advocacy group.
It's a consumer rights advocacy group, but the chief complainant is a consumer rights advocate.
That makes a lot of sense because the suit it sounds like a grievance. It's less like actual legal argument and more a grievance argument. Because let me find the quote. This lawsuit was filed. It says Sony dominates the digital distribution of PlayStation games and in-game content. This is one of the lawyers leading the lawsuit.
Mm-hmm.
It has deployed an anti-competitive strategy, which has resulted in excessive prices to customers that are out of proportion to the cost Sony is providing its services. So basically, they're saying that Sony has monopoly on the sale of digital games on the PlayStation Store, and it shouldn't be using that power to take a 30% cut. They're arguing that the 30% cut Sony takes forces developers to raise prices, which is then passed on to consumers, and so in that way, Sony is ripping off consumers. But
Yeah.
it also feels weird because like they're suing Sony for the PlayStation Store, but it's like, oh, Sony has monopoly on the PlayStation Store, but also Microsoft does on the Microsoft Store, Apple does on the Apple Store,
Mm-hmm.
Google does on the Google Store. All of these walled gardens are the same, and maybe this isn't this is like the first barrage. This is an attempt to bring down the wall of the walled garden, or in the same way that Epic sued Apple over their 30% cut, this is someone trying to take that fight to console makers,
Mm-hmm.
which is something that we knew was coming inevitably. But I feel like this is a weird route to take from that.
Right. I'm looking. They launched a website, and I can't find the website anywhere because it's a co.uk, so it doesn't come up in like high in my search.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they launched a website outlining their grievances. I don't know. I see arguments on both sides. Yes, does Sony have a monopoly on the digital distribution of games? Yeah, not a total monopoly, but every other developer has a monopoly on their own games. That's
they have a
sort of a
monopoly
thing.
on their service. It's weird because I feel like there's a legitimate argument to be made that the 30% cut is too much to be the middleman. But that's an argument that a developer has to make against Sony.
Mm-hmm.
Having a consumer make that argument feels like it doesn't carry the same legal weight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I want to say that the woman's name is Alex Neal, is the consumer advocate who's like the chief complainant in the lawsuit.
I think AC Wraith gave us a link.
There we go. PlayStation, you owe us. That's it. Thank you. .co.uk.
So yeah,
there it is. Thank you, sir.
I'm sympathetic to the argument, and like I'm anti 30% cut for the middleman who only hosts content.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, I feel like a developer needs to make this argument, not a consumer.
Right. Well, also, we are looking at this from consumer protection laws that are United States consumer protection laws. UK's consumer protection laws very, very different and tend to be a lot more strict than the United States are. So they clearly know what they're doing because the suit is being filed by a consumer rights advocate being part of a consumer rights foundation with lawyers that are consumer rights lawyers. If it didn't have some merit, a demonstrable merit to the UK consumer laws, they wouldn't be filing it. So we'll see. So yeah, or they could be just doing it. You know, here's the other thing, the other reason why they might be doing it.
Oh,
it could be just a publicity stunt for their
group,
their foundation, for their consumer rights foundation. It absolutely could be, because it did make news. There's top of the fold news. It made the size of it. The allegations, like you said, are a little like, but you know, maybe I don't know what your laws say, but that's a pretty loosey goosey there's arguments that I can make against what you're saying. Do they have a monopoly on digital production, digital downloads? No, they don't. I can go and buy a digital copy on Amazon. I get the code. I put the code in. I've got it. So they don't have a monopoly to consumers. Yeah, that means that this, I don't know. But they could be just filing it for publicity, and then they're going to drop it, and, later. Who knows? But yes, that was very big news. What do you guys think? Do you think that argument? Let's see. Let me pull the FAQs, because I think that is on their FAQs of why they're doing it.
Okay. Blood Reaper says they also handle payment and security of the PlayStation Store, which
yeah,
but everyone hosts their own security.
Yeah, there it goes. Companies making a profit isn't wrong, but unlawful behavior at the expense of their customers is. We believe Sony's conduct in relation to PlayStation amounts to an abuse of dominant position, which is a breach of the UK EU competition law for the following reasons. Sony has a near monopoly on the sale of digital games and add-on content through its control of the PlayStation Store. Sony uses its dominance to enforce strict terms and conditions on games and developers and publishers.
That they might have an argument with, as we've seen in other leaked stuff.
Yep. These terms allow Sony to set the price of digital games and in-game content and a charge of 30% commission. And we know that 30% commission, that's been a thing. I mean, it's an industry standard, and it's not just games. It's everybody that's got a platform charges 30%. Maybe Epic Store does it. I think that I recall that they reduced their prices from 30%.
Epic Games is the only one that doesn't.
Right. Apple charges 30%. Google charges 30%. Everybody charges 30%. That's an industry standard. But these terms allow Sony to set the price of digital games and in-game content and charge a 30% commission on every purchase of digital games and in-game content to the Post Store, which, that their argument is that is passed on to consumers.
Except the argument that it's excessive and unfair feels weird when the price on the PlayStation Store is the same as the price on the Microsoft Store.
I don't think that they're saying... No, they're not saying it's excessive.
It says it right there.
These terms allow the digital games to charge a 30% commission. No,
but the next point under says
this results in unfair prices. Well, here's what they're not individual. They're steps. They're step conclusion. Because Sony has a near monopoly on the sale of digital games, because Sony uses this dominance and conditions on game developers and publishers, like you said, we have that information, especially out of that Brazil. They're fighting Activision in Brazil, and all those documents that came out as part of their argument, right?
Yeah.
Bunch of leaks. Yeah. This does allow them to charge a 30% commission. This results in an excessive, meaning that if it's 30% commission on what they're charging, that means it's an excessive an unfair price based on UK competition law, which doesn't allow those first two things. You can't monopolize a market, enforce dominance on that market, then set the price with a commission charge, a high commission charge, and then that therefore creates an excessive unfair price to consumers.
But again, that feels like a weak argument when I go to the Microsoft Store and it's the same price.
Right.
If they want to make all this argument and then link in Microsoft and say, hey, you're doing it too, then you have a point.
It may be that they're establishing PlayStation and a settlement through PlayStation, because that's what it's going to be. It's going to be a settlement. They're establishing the settlement through PlayStation because they've got more compelling documents from all of those documents leaked and given and made public in the Brazilian courts over the the Microsoft acquisition Microsoft's acquisition of Activision. then once they've established that what Sony has done is wrong, then they can use that to pressure Microsoft, using the success against Sony as evidence of Microsoft. If it's doing the same thing, then clearly it's wrong too.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that they have better evidence against Sony. And then if they get a judgment against Sony, they can use that against Microsoft. And then they can use it against Nintendo. And then they can use it against Apple. And then they can use it against everybody else that charges a 30% commission fee on a walled garden. Digital walled garden. I don't know.
Maybe.
Or they could be doing it for publicity. I don't know. I'm not part of it. I am not a lawyer. I wouldn't know. Hogue Law, I think Hogue Law said that this is a little loose. But this is not their lawsuit. Their actual suit may go into greater detail and make a more compelling argument. And he's not familiar with UK consumer law. So he's not sure either, but he says it wouldn't fly in the United States.
Blood Reaper says that Apple had to change to 30%.
Well, maybe that's some more argument on the favor of the plaintiffs. So even if you change 30%, you're still paying a commission. Yeah, but that 30% commission is a high amount. We've kind of gotten used to it, but it is a high amount for a commission.
Yeah.
And then Steam will go, fuck you, going to keep 30%. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, even Steam has kind of changed the rules, if I remember correctly, but like, look, some commission is okay. They need some commission to be the middleman, obviously. 30% is just too much for the most part. And yeah, like I said, it feels loose. I think what also made me very suspect is $6 billion feels like a publicity stunt.
$6 billion feels like a
having that figure thrown out there in the headlines feels like you're just trying to get headlines. That's
absolutely
all. If it was,
they did,
yeah,
it worked.
If it was a stronger legal argument, and if they actually wanted to make a case, they wouldn't like try to be this showy.
Yeah.
This feels like showmanship more than anything else.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking, I mean, totally unrelated. I got a class action lawsuit settlement check of $30 from, I can't remember what it was for. It was Apple.
Oh.
Yeah.
For what? What was the class action?
I don't remember. I don't know. I just got a check of $30 and change for a settlement against Apple. So yeah, I mean, these things work. But yeah, so anyway, moving right along.
Well, I guess sticking with the Sony news, in good Sony news, Sony announced a new DualSense controller that will be customizable.
Yeah, they did that. That was at Gamescom too, and it was a lot of people were very interested in that. Which I find it interesting because I don't really fucking care about the controllers, but that's just me.
It doesn't sound quite like it's the major change that the Xbox Elite controller is, which has like a bunch of paddles on the back that you can do. But mainly what it amounts to is you can change the control sticks. So like you can kind of pop off a control stick and put a new one in, which should help resolve any controller drift issues. And you can basically remap all the buttons and all of the dead zone of the things and save those configurations as like profiles. So like, hey, Nick's button mapping is different than Edie's button mapping, and my dead zone controllers is different than yours. But other than that, it's like, hey, you can kind of remap the buttons and save them and replace the control sticks. But that
is nice. I'm not going to lie. That is nice. The fact that you can actually pop out the control sticks, because I have broken in my PlayStation 4, my PS4, I had to buy multiple controllers, PS5 controllers, PS4 controllers, because the joystick stopped working, or there was some kind of bug in the joysticks. And I remember one that made a couple of games just unplayable because the joysticks wouldn't work, and it was a bug in the controller. There was nothing you could do. You had to buy a new one. And then I had other ones that just wore out because I played it so much. So the fact that you can actually pop out a control stick and put a new one in because either it's got a problem or it wears out, I love that idea. Having that modular design is great. It goes back to this right to repair thing. It gives you the sense of a right to repair. Yes, instead of just creating tat that just goes into a landfill to be, churned over and be discovered by, future civilizations.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be billions of years in the soil.
They haven't mentioned a price or release date. Mm-hmm. But considering the controller itself is like $70, $80,
it's probably I'm going to say it's going to be $120 or more.
I know the Xbox Elite is $180.
Oh, yeah, then they'll probably be, if the Xbox Elite is $180, they'll probably go $200.
Stoic Silence is he says what I'm thinking is most of my broken controllers suffer from quit rage, ale punch, room transit.
I like this. I like this term. We should make this an actual technical term. Quit rage, air launch, room transit. Mm-hmm. I am going to write that down and use that.
Is Stoic Silence new? I don't recognize that name.
I don't recognize your name. Hi, Stoic Silence. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for watching on Twitch.
All right. So, yeah, I mean, AC Ray says, as far as I know, we've always been able to replace sticks, but required soldering. Do these simply click in without it? Yes, the way that it shows in the trailer, it's just a little module that just pops in and out. So I think that
no one is 99.9% of people are not going to solder to replace their control sticks.
Here's where I think they have to worry about the price point. If that controller is worth 3 times the normal controller, then that's a problem. Because then it becomes, you're just better off getting 3 controllers. I just buying a new one later.
The Microsoft Elite is $180, and I think that's wildly overpriced.
Yeah, I do too.
So I think this controller sounds even lesser than that one.
Yeah, it's a Lexus controller, and this other one's a Lexus controller too. So I don't know. I'm fine with my Yugo. It's good. Well, maybe not the Yugo.
I'm fine with the DualSense as it is. Yeah, I like it. I think it's really
my
cool.
Toyota Corolla DualSense is just fine. It runs.
I mean, honestly, the Toyota the DualSense itself is just a Lexus already, just a low end one.
Yeah,
it ain't cheap.
No, that is true. Thank God I have two. Thank God I have two. But I paid up for that in order to get that freaking bundle because I had to. It was the only thing I could get. All right, so next item. Let me do one because you've been doing a couple. Okay. All right. So you want to do another big a really big freaking story that you clearly missed out of Kotaku.
Okay.
Big investigative piece. This was a piece that came out a week and a half ago, maybe.
That's probably why I forgot about it because I was not putting it in my little link thing.
Yeah, Nintendo exposed. Not as wholesome as you thought. So you've heard about the pervy guys at Ubisoft and Riot. You've heard about the rapey guys at Activision, the child molesters at PlayStation, and so many mass complaints about sexual harassment, about sexual discrimination and employee abuse at too many developers to be able to name. We always thought that the one good company that seemed above the fray, no matter what the industry scandal was Nintendo. Good, sweet Nintendo. Adorable Shigeru Miyamoto with his cute smile and his Mario and Kirby and Link and Mario and Princess Peach.
Turns out Shigeru Miyamoto kills kittens.
Well, it's not about Shigeru Miyamoto. But Nintendo, if Nintendo was a teenager, like if all consoles were teenagers, Nintendo would be the one that you would allow to babysit your kids.
Okay.
We thought they were different. They are not. Apparently, last week, testers for Nintendo of America, a number of them, came forward in an investigative piece by Kotaku that say that women have faced years of sexual harassment and in the product testing division, and that there is a quote-unquote, and they used it, frat house culture that and a culture that allows all of this to remain rampant with sexual abuse, harassment, and discrimination. So the article outlines the experiences of a number of testers, some of them female, some of them male, saying what they saw. And they all paint a picture of a corporate culture where sexist behavior is very commonplace, and that when it's called out, very little action is taken by Nintendo to address it, and except in that the complainants lose their jobs. And it all comes down to contract versus employee of Nintendo.
That seems to always be the case.
Right. So basically, female contract testers, some of them who have been working for a decade or more for Nintendo as contract testers, are not promoted on a regular basis. They're passed over for full Nintendo employment and then men get the job with less years of experience. And that has created a culture where this bro environment of this reigning group of bros all promote within themselves, and then just bros do what bros do. Bros got to do what bros got to do. And it's bad enough that they discriminate, according to these reports, against women for job employment, for full employment, which means healthcare and all the other perks. But what it does is that because there's so few women in the permanent employee pool of Nintendo testers, that there are far fewer women who will advocate or support anyone who does report when they are sexually harassed. And that very much happens. For example, one contract tester who had worked for Nintendo for 10 years as a contract tester, so she was contracted through another company, was on a Microsoft Teams channel that is an internal channel to the company where company people talk to each other. But it was an official Nintendo company chat on Teams. She screenshotted posts from a different Nintendo employee, a male, that discussed what Pokemon would be the best to have sex with. And then that devolved into a conversation implying that pedophilia was okay in some situations. Now, these are conversations Nick and I might have on a podcast on Twitch. This is not something conversation that you dare have on an official Teams,
Okay.
Microsoft Teams channel.
So wait, I'm going to back up a moment. The whole what Pokemon would be best to have sex with, okay, we might talk about that. I'm going to step back and draw a line and say, I don't think we will have a chat about how pedophilia is okay in some situations. I want to I want to distance myself and the GameHounds podcast as a whole
from pedophilia. From the pedo. Yes, true, yes. True. Goalie might have, but you and I wouldn't. If you're just joining the podcast, Goalie is our former podcaster who always went below the belt, always said the most inappropriate thing. So, And then of course when this person screenshotted these screenshots and came to her bosses at both her, well, she went to her boss at the contracting company that actually employed her, and they're like, yeah, you really should complain to Nintendo about this. You need to be very quiet about this and just forget it happened. And she's like, no, I sort of can't. So she brought it to Nintendo, and she was eventually forced out of her job. Her contract was not renewed after 10 years. So many have cited the head of product testing development, which is problematic because where do you go above that when you are a contractor? This guy named Melvin Forrest. He worked on Mario Kart Double Dash. He worked on Donkey Kong Country. He worked on Metroid Prime. He is the gatekeeper that decides who stays and who goes from the contract testers. And who of that group is made a full employee and promoted and get all the perks. One male tester that was interviewed in this article said, quote, Forrest went after all the associate girls, and that associates, this is from the article, and that associates would even warn each other to stay away from his desk. A former tester said that he would comment on female associates' weight and appearance, but that many felt that they had no choice but to stay on good terms with Forrest because he would decide if your contract was renewed or if you got hired by Nintendo full-time. Quote, even if you were friendly with him, you were more likely to be brought back sooner or less likely to be laid off, said one female tester who was pushed out for complaining. Quote, product testing really felt like a frat house sometimes, said one former tester who worked in the department in 2017. She tried to avoid interacting with a man who held so much power within the department, but she still had to deal with male co-workers. They would make jokes about gender stereotypes and female characters who got their skirts flipped. When she complained, men would tell her that she had to be tough enough to work in product testing. And it wasn't just straight women who got, of course, targeted at Nintendo for America. It was also queer women, and they got it even worse. One woman who was interviewed told of her backup coordinator, so an employee, she was a contractor, he was an employee, a significantly older man who tried to hit on her when she had started working for the company in 2012, a decade ago. When she revealed her sexuality, saying, hey, I'm a lesbian, he said, oh, you're a lesbian? That's kind of sad. And it didn't stop with when male employees would make advances on her, because it happened a lot, she would say, hey, I don't like guys, I'm a lesbian. They would respond, quote, oh, but are you sure? But you were flirting with me. You're just playing hard to get. So, yeah, queer female testers were apparently targeted at Nintendo for company policies that were not enforced by straight couples that were dating at Nintendo. For example, if two testers were lesbians and they were dating, and they were holding hands on their lunch hour, they would be told that there was a no touching policy at Nintendo, which conveniently was not enforced for straight couples at Nintendo. It's all very disturbing because, and I think more so because Nintendo really fosters this super squeaky clean image, but it's clear that they are no different than any other company that's now having their Me Too moments, that this is happening and allowing this frat house bro culture, especially among testers. What is it about testers?
They're the lowest.
They're the lowest rung people, but it's always women within the testing community. And it's like, if you don't accept the fact that you are going to get harassed, then you don't move. And if it's happening at Nintendo, it means it's happening everywhere. This is the squeakiest clean of all companies, and it's that bad there.
And this is Nintendo of America. This
Right,
is
Nintendo of
like,
America.
This isn't like, oh, the Japanese culture. It's different. We're different here. No, this is
Oh, I
Nintendo.
can guarantee you it's not just here.
Oh, it's probably worse.
It's probably much worse over there because they
Um,
have much more acceptance of it.
But what's interesting and not surprising, but also sad is like the stories that they tell. If you said that was happening at Activision or Ubisoft, I would be like, oh yeah, we've heard this before. This news story has came up before.
Mhm.
Like it's so similar in every regard.
Exactly. Isn't it? It's like it's like Kotaku can write one story and then just copy paste the name of the company into it.
Yeah.
And it's still accurate for everything. I'm glad it's all starting to come out, but holy crap. I can't believe, like I said, like you said, how similar they all are, with the exception of Activision, only because Activision was so much worse than everybody else.
Yeah.
So yeah, squeaky clean Nintendo got its Me Too movement, or got its Me Too moment, and it clearly needs to be. And Stoic Silence actually says in the chat, it gets swept under the carpet as the studios are more interested in keeping the developers than dealing with the real issue. Deadlines and profit are more important than morals, unfortunately. And laws. And laws. They're assuming, because it's been, I mean, some of these people reporting from 2012, a decade ago, it was like this. It means that has this been going on since the beginning?
Yes.
Has it really been going on since the beginning? And why are we only finding out about this now?
I think it's because culturally we've reached a place where people are willing to speak out about it.
Maybe.
Previously the power dynamics changed, and the one dude who ran product testing is like, I can work with impunity.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe it was just their time would come. It just took a really long time for time to come. And I really, really hope that doesn't change. Because, like there's movements move forward and then they sometimes get forgotten about. And I'm really glad, I'm hoping that this movement forward doesn't get swept under the rug again, like go back to the way the old times were, simply because nobody's looking. And I'm hoping that all these companies that are having this problem aren't all thinking to themselves, it's okay because we've all got this problem. I'm hoping that they're realizing what a problem it is, that they all have it, and they all need to figure out how to make it stop.
I don't think it will, because I think the reason we're learning all about this now is because tools of communication have gotten to the point where it's easier for people that are abused and marginalized to get the story out there.
Yeah.
Right? Like 40, 50 years
True.
ago.
Oh, 50 years ago.
It would be impossible for like them to get this out there.
Yeah.
Now it's a lot easier. And so it's easier for someone to get their voice heard and for that to get picked up and echoed out.
Yeah.
For better and for worse.
There is that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there went your last bastion of the hope that there wasn't a shitty developer and a shitty publisher out there. There isn't. So let's not allow this, and let's hopefully make them be better. Next
Okay.
item.
I guess let's do a couple of good news stories.
Okay, please.
Okay.
Am I starting
Excuse
to
me?
look choppy to you, because I'm getting choppy on my screen?
Maybe a little move.
Okay.
Do like the Quentin Tarantino Pulp Fiction. Yeah, you look a little choppy. No, I said Quentin Tarantino, not Blair Witch.
Okay. Point taken. Next item.
Anyways, Bungie has had a big announcement. They released like some new they released some new DLC trailers for the new raid and expansion. One of the things they mentioned is that they promised no more vaulting. Vaulting was basically a system where they would delete old Destiny 2 content and replace it with new stuff. So that has, over the years,
Right.
as more Destiny 2 expansions came out, they would remove the old stuff. It's at the point now where if you buy the disc of Destiny 2 and you put it in a console, like that content is gone. The original Destiny 2
Nothing remains.
the original Destiny 2 campaign.
It's a bit like Share. It's like, what's natural on that? There's nothing. There's no original parts.
Mm-hmm. And now they have promised they won't do that anymore.
Okay.
Their argument is basically that a lot of that original content was so inefficient that it took up a lot more space than it should have, and they've gotten better at size management to the point where they promise they're not going to delete any more old stuff.
Mm-hmm. So I hate to go back, but this is kind of interesting. Stoic silence in the chat. In the building where I work in the UK, the top floor was a Sony games development studio, and overhearing them at times was cringeworthy, how they spoke about women at the office and in general. I am ex-military, and I will be honest, I had to hold my temper a lot. Here's the thing. Don't hold your temper. That's what's happening now. Don't hold your temper. The only way that these guys will understand it's not fucking okay is when ex-military guys from another company walk in and go, "Do you talk to your mother with that mouth? What the fuck are you saying about women? Are you an animal? Are you... What prehistoric swamp did you just crawl out of to think that that's okay to say anywhere, much less in a workplace?" I say that, I'm an angry woman. You say that, it's a whole different message. I hate to say that we have to make it about men standing up for women, but it is. It's women have to stand up for women, and then men have to stand up for women. We have to have our allies, because this is not going to change without allies on all sides. It's just not. Anyway, so you were saying about no more vaulting. I think that this is good. So it means that they're not pulling all the stuff out of the vault.
No, they're not.
They're just saying that whatever the base game now,
what's there now is not
gonna stay. Okay.
So it's good news, bad news.
Yep.
Good news, better news.
Yep. Yeah. I wonder if this is a function, their way of saying that they're not going to make expansions.
It's their way of saying that. It's their way of saying Destiny 3 is not
on the way.
No, it's not coming out for a long time. Right?
How do you get that from that? I don't see the connection.
They've streamlined their process to allow for more expansions, is what they're basically saying. Okay.
All right. Well, I don't see why they would make a Destiny 3. Destiny 2 makes so much money. It's like Grand Theft Auto 5. Why would they make another Grand Theft Auto? They're making more money than God on, and have been since that game fucking came out. Yeah. It is an ATM just printing money as fast as it possibly can for the last, decade? Everybody wants to be that. And Destiny is probably as close as you're going to get in the industry right now.
Yeah, like the first game was like them tripping over themselves a little bit, but Destiny 2 seems to have taken
a little bit. Dinklebot, I would call that more than a trip. I would call that a faceplant.
I still think Dinklebot is better than Nolanbot?
Nolanbot.
Nobot. Yeah, I like Peter Dinklage's.
Peter Dinklage was so bad that it was actually good. It was comical.
No, it wasn't. His wasn't bad. It wasn't bad at all. The only reason they changed is
It was
because
so lifeless. It was so soulless.
no, it
It was
wasn't.
just his voice, unaltered. It needed to have something there to.
Peter Dinklage's, he was your little flying assistant dude. With his voice, it sounded like a mentor. It sounded like
Somebody
a
older and
leader.
wiser that would
Like
be guide.
it sounded like someone who would guide me.
Your
he said
Sherpa.
something, I want to listen to you because I believe you know what you're talking about. Nolan North's version is just like, I'm a wacky sidekick. Woo.
What was it in Borderlands? God, I can't. I'm having brain cramp. Borderlands robot. Claptrap.
Oh, Claptrap, yeah.
Yeah, he was trying to be Claptrap.
I wish I could open that link.
Well, what I do is I usually just do a search on YouTube for "That Wizard Came from the Moon," and oh, I remember that line. Oh, let me pull it up. All right, let me see if I can pull it. That's we need to be reminded of the good old days of Destiny when it was a horrible mistake. Let's see. I closed my window.
I've got this.
Okay, now make sure that you share sound. I want to hear the sound.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
The Hive haven't been on Earth in centuries. That wizard came from the moon.
Oh, yes. Oh,
On
Dinklage.
Earth in centuries. That wizard
Came from the moon.
Came from the moon. Wizard came from the moon. That wizard came from
Please
the moon.
tell me they made a.
That wizard came from the moon.
Please
That
tell me they make an
wizard came
idiom.
from the moon.
Oh, I'm sure someone has done a remix of that.
Oh, if not, I know what I'm doing tonight.
Oh, okay. See, Blood Reaper. Many people in the Destiny 2 community missed the first Ghost voice.
So you're not alone. See,
Mm-hmm.
see, I can say it. That wizard came from the moon.
Actually, I wonder if I can find the new dialogue.
AC Wraith will absolutely find that link. He finds the link to everything. I think there's only been once that I was able to, that he wasn't able to get a link. Oops, sorry. I'll add it.
Yeah.
There we go. Thank you, IGN, for doing this. This is the source.
Yes.
There you are. Is it possible? There you are.
Yeah,
See, he's so much chipper.
chipper. Yeah, I can see that.
Hasn't made a jump in centuries. We're lucky the Fallen haven't completely picked it clean.
And that was after they added the digital to his voice.
Hasn't made a jump in centuries. We're lucky the Fallen haven't completely picked it clean. Welcome to
I don't know. I mean, I'm a little afraid of copyright there. I can see that being I can see it. I think it's a personal taste. What they really should have done. Oh my God, he did find the dance remix of that. Oh, they should have had a slider. You could either have Nolan North or you could have Peter Dinklage. That would have been like premium content. That it's like an additional add-on for like $5. People would have done it. Oh, there we go. Add a stream.
all right. This we go wherever we want.
That wizard came from the moon. That wizard came from the moon. That wizard came from the moon. That wizard.
This is awesome. Oh my gosh. What's the name of the channel that this comes off of? Oh, what is the channel name? Because we want to give proper credit to that channel name. That is the link to that. Please go if you want to listen to the whole thing.
Hoodwinked Fool.
Hoodwinked Fool. Genius. Now it's in my head for the rest of the night. That wizard came from him. All right, so next item. Let me see if I can go on to some that is else. Okay, since we're into like laughing at things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The other thing that happened last week, Zuckerberg. Zuck. Why is it that all bajillionaires seem to be insane? Is there something about having that much money that just makes you crazy? Like makes you just lose connection with reality?
Part of that, or you have to be that crazy to make that much money.
Possibly. Well, last week, Mark Zuckerberg, who is pursuing the metaverse like Ahab pursued the white whale, like Don Quixote went after the windmills. Mark Zuckerberg wants the metaverse. And he tweeted a selfie of his creepy looking dead avatar standing in front of, I'm putting the link in there so that you can see it and you can share the horror that this is. And I am
It
pulling
looked like
it.
It looked like a me ripoff.
Oh, Me's look better. Me's look better than what this does. Let me get the window, and there it is. There, behold, feast your eyes on dead-eyed, more dead-eyed than normal, Mark Zuckerberg, and his announcement that in front of the Eiffel Tower and the La Sagrada Familia, which is a very iconic church in Spain, to announce that Metaverse is coming to Spain and Italy. It's launching there. So the photo itself is taking a lot of criticism, not only and not well, it looks awful.
Yeah.
One look and everybody thinks this is not a world that I want to be in. And yes, this is what $10 billion makes in Reality Labs. Behold, a $10 billion selfie. It honestly looks like a kid's first attempt at digital art. The first time I saw it, I thought this isn't something that you put on Twitter to announce a launch of a beta launch of a new service on the internet. This is something that a mom for a middle schooler would put up on the fridge of the example that their kids did.
Huh.
And numerous people pointed out that there are games, there are other games, older games. Like somebody put up a comparison of Second Life, and Second Life looks better. People putting up stuff about pictures of older video games with, there we go. What in VR chat is being made in VR chat of the Eiffel Tower. And this looks like that in VR chat. And $10 billion couldn't buy that so yeah.
I think he put out another image later that was like
he did, but the damage was done. The damage was done. Dude spends billions on a rendering that we had 2 game consoles ago.
Yeah.
Somebody else had some really funny quotes, like saying this looks like an Xbox 360 avatar is an insult to Xbox 360 avatars.
I know there's like an infamous magazine cover from the 90s that was like game graphics are never going to look better than this, and it looked like a Reboot, that old TV show.
Yeah.
Oh, but I'm trying to find that image and I can't.
Yeah, they're like, meanwhile, in VR chat, they actually have, yes, this is a very basic VR chat, but it's better than what he just showed. Just insulting. Anyway, but that's not the only story. And a lot of people, you've seen it everywhere, that people are making fun of this atrocity. But I found something that is even more interesting that I can't believe more people are not reporting about, because it gets worse. By the way, the best description of that was there's a YouTuber, Yang Ya. I love the guy.
Oh, I know
His
him.
description says, quote, this is from him, "It feels like an alien who doesn't understand humans is trying to make a product for humans."
Mm-hmm.
He's not wrong. But yeah, he did. Mark Zuckerberg released another photo. He said that first selfie was a very off the cuff photo, and that Metaverse is looks very different to that. Yeah, sure. You decided to tweet out a random photo of Metaverse, your pet $10 billion and counting project, without clearing it through what is probably an entire building full of marketing people working on the Metaverse.
I mean, the thing is, I could see him actually doing that because he's the CEO.
Because he's
insane.
insane.
I don't have to go
He's
through
insane.
the
He is
upper
an
channels.
alien. He does not understand. It's like, does he not play games? Does he not know where we're at technologically?
Yes, and that's why it's stupid, because I think he's like, I'm CEO. I'm going to tweet this out. I don't need to go through the proper channels because
I made Facebook. I understand technology. I know what graphics are.
And it's like, no, everything you do just makes you look
completely
embarrassingly out of touch.
Yeah.
Out of touch in a way that like should damage the stock, because it makes your whole metaverse look like a terrible decision that will never take off.
Absolutely did. But wait, it gets worse.
Okay.
So that whole tweet, that whole horrible debacle, was announcing that Metaverse was launching in Spain and Italy. They did not bother to translate Metaverse into Spanish or Italian. This went over about as well as you can expect it in Spain. They're calling it "a palabras necias odio sordos," which translates to literally means "turn deaf ears on stubborn worlds." Somebody said to a reporter about this, "Keep on explaining things to me in English." He used part of the local outlet Real o Virtual. He said in a YouTube review of Horizon Worlds just last week, he goes, "I'm not going to fucking listen to you. Keep explaining to me in English. I'm not listening." When asked about the lack of Spanish by Gizmodo to Facebook, the Facebook spokesperson told Gizmodo that the game was launching in Spain for an English-only capacity first. We want to enable more people to experience and connect with others in Horizon Worlds as soon as possible. And this means opening more regions first in an English-only capacity.
We want more people, but we're not going to translate it for you.
Right. We look forward to building a more localized experience first. What?
Again,
What?
it feels like the desire to create the metaverse, like you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot. You're going to be completely unable to create this grand metaverse of your dreams if you can't bridge that communication gap.
It's like they want to fail.
I mean, I want
it's
them
like,
to fail.
honestly, it feels like exactly what we've heard about in some reports about Reality Labs and the Metaverse, is that there's a lot of people in Reality Labs who think that this is ill-conceived. They don't want to be working on it. They don't want any part of it. And that the only person that really wants the Metaverse is Mark Zuckerberg. And that's how this is starting to come out, is that everybody's like, yeah, Mark, okay. I mean, you're paying us, so we'll work on it. But our heart is very much not in it. And he's like, I'm in it and I believe and look what I think I can do. And nobody's buying. And they keep on making these horrible, like basic missteps. If you're going to release it in Spain, make it in Spanish. It's kind of an insult to fucking Spain.
Blood Reaper in the chat says, AKA, it means they forgot to translate it.
Apparently, some things in it are translated, but they're translated wrong. Like, there was something in there that meant that was supposed to be slide. That was like the action of slide, lower to a slider. And they used the word for slide in Spanish that means like a slide, a PowerPoint slide, a transparency. And what's really funny is they're like, did they just send it through Google Translate? And if you go to Google Translate knows that it's the correct, what that means, that it's transparency, not slide. So it's some other program, probably Facebook program, that translates shit, and they translated it wrong. It's just mind-boggling.
I think Stoke Silence out here asking the important questions. Does Mark get the metaverse first, or does Elon get to Mars first?
Oh, shit. Oh, wow. Yeah, my money's on Elon. My money's on Elon. Elon has actually proved that he can put stuff into space. Mark Zuckerberg has not proved to us that he can build anything graphical beyond Facebook. What has Facebook made other than a forum?
Yeah, that's true. Because they
purchased other forums,
other things.
They bought things. They have not produced anything. They have produced the hardware that they bought from somebody else, but they've never produced anything that has any kind of graphical interface other than type and script. They don't know how to do it. They don't know what it looks like. And clearly Mark Zuckerberg doesn't play video games because he doesn't see this as a video game. He sees this as a metaverse. It's a reality.
No, it's a video game.
And honestly, if you think about it, Mark Zuckerberg kind of stole Facebook, if you believe some people. He kind of stole the idea from somebody else. Mark Zuckerberg doesn't really come up with shit. He doesn't. He just makes other people's shit better sometimes. Once really well.
And see, AC Wraith says, Spork of Love performs music in VR chat and does gaming streams with avatars her husband made for free.
Oh, that's interesting.
That kind of thing, I think, makes the metaverse more likely because you need to put free things out there. You need to make access to it accessible to everyone to make it big and grand and all encompassing like it is in, Ready Player One and other such movies.
Absolutely. And you have to give people a reason to go into it. And that's a really good reason, is people holding concerts. I mean, how many people go into Fortnite what are some of the people that have gone into Fortnite, like had a concert in Fortnite?
Oh, Ariana Grande, I think, was the reason.
Yeah. Take some $10 billion. You can hire Ariana Grande. You can hire Megan Thee Stallion. You can hire freaking anybody and have them have a concert in the metaverse. You could do it. But don't launch in Spain in English. That's a bad way to do it. So Silent says, you would not believe the network architecture they have rolled out globally to support what is effectively a posh blog. I work in telecoms now, and here investment on network reach and hardware is unreal. Too much money, not enough sense. Well, actually, does make sense. The nice thing is that kind of infrastructure, once it's there, it's kind of there. It's forging new grounds. It's going to get reemployed by somebody else.
Someone will buy Facebook just so they have access to that network.
AC Ray says she's also Kitty from the game developer Robot Loves Kitty. Oh, okay. They made games like Legend of Dungeon and Tiny Plumbers. Robot is her husband. Oh, I didn't know that. I'm going to have to start following that channel. So yeah, that's my hilarious waste of money of the day.
Okay.
Like I said, there's a lot of stuff we missed in the last 2 weeks of not having a show. All right, your next item.
Okay, this is more good news, and then we'll get into bad news. Maybe good stuff. So Battlefield 24 came out last year, and one of the things people hated about it,
2042. Yeah.
among other things, is that they removed the classes that had defined Battlefield up to now.
Right.
Like
Which
before, there
it
were 4
sounded
classes.
good when they first posed it, and then we realized, no, it's not good. It does not work.
Yeah, they had announced instead of like the 4 main classes, there would be operators, which were basically like hero units, basically.
Uh-huh.
Now, one of the things they're doing, DICE has been slowly changing Battlefield 2042 for the better, changing the layout of maps to make it better for units of all type. One of the things they're doing now is basically bringing back classes. The operators are going to remain in the game, but the way it works now is that each operator will be part of a class, which means that some of their skills will be limited. So one of the things that they mentioned is only recon players will be able to use a SOFLAM. And that's just like, hey, like the previous games, we're limiting some weapons and equipment to certain classes in order to make those, classes unique from each other, which is good to basically see them stepping back more and more. They are stepping back from the bad decisions they had made and are making it a better experience overall.
So what happened in Battlefield 2042, I will liken to something that's going on with me professionally, because our company uses Ring Central. I don't know if any of you use Ring Central, but when you use Ring Central for business, there are multiple different apps for the different things Ring Central does. There is the video app. There is the webinar app. And there is the phone app. And these things do one thing. They do it very, very well, but they're all separate. Some fucking genius, because it was some fucking genius who wants to make his stamp and thinks that what's the natural thing that anyone would think if you've got multiple apps and you want to make a name for yourself and change things up. You make one app that does all things.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fucking awful. They're going to migrate to that. I cannot be receptionist for a corporation with an application that's phone is buried underneath webinar and everything else. It's going to be impossible for me to do the individual program was small, was elegant. It did its job. It was compact. It didn't take up my whole screen. It didn't dominate my whole computer. And it didn't eat up a fuck ton of bandwidth on my GPU. Now, my phone, in order to answer phones, is now competing with everything else that I'm trying to do between phone calls. And it's not, this is what happened with Battlefield, is they thought, oh, well, we've got all these operators. Let's make them all the same, but different. Different enough, but you can do everything with one character. And it's like, no, you can't, because then they're all the same and it doesn't work. They're not small and elegant the way that they were. And yeah, they're pulling back. And the thing about games, when you fuck up, it's instantaneously known. I don't think what's going to happen is that eventually in 2 years, some new person is going to come in and say, you know what we should have for Ring Central? We've got this big, bulky, hard to maneuver program. Why don't we make them all separate? Each of them doing one thing. So it becomes a suite, but it's all accessible from one place, like an app store. It's what they're going to do. So anyway, it's a long explanation of, yes, This is what Battlefield should have done at the beginning. This is what they should have never gone away from. Or if they did go away from it, to do it much, much, much better than they had. They clearly didn't understand their own market.
Yes,
and why people like Battlefield. They probably employed the same clown that ruined Skype. There is, I forget, is it the Company Man on YouTube? I think it is the Company Man on YouTube that did an episode on how Microsoft destroyed Skype and why they may have destroyed Skype. It's really, really, really interesting. Because, Skype was genius, and then Microsoft fucked it up.
It was malice? Is that the implication?
It wasn't that it was malice, but it was a business decision. Like, once Skype was part of the Microsoft company, it was just another piece's part that they could piece out to use for other things, and that it was really never about being telecommunications. They wanted to employ it. I want to say, we wanted to employ it as a way for people to communicate with on eBay with each other. So better communication, that kind of stuff. They wanted to essentially make it a function of other websites and other apps. And they pieced all that information out. And then, of course, they didn't want to run Skype. They just wanted Skype.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
They had MS Link and then bought Skype. Yep. And they used the technology, but of course they didn't want to run a telecommunications company that actually works as a telephone. So, yes, Skype. Another one. Elegant, straightforward, does its job, does it well. Even today, it still does it. But, oh well. My next item is Game Pass Ultimate. You know, they're working on that, and there is new leaks coming out of this. And these leaks sound very... Did I not put this in here? Yeah, no, I know I wrote it.
Yeah,
oh, thank you. Good. There we go. There are leaks coming out through the early cases, the early testing, the areas where Family Pass, the game plans are launching, or early access, that this new family Game Pass will allow game sharing to up to 4 people. And it's not just family, it's family and friends. You don't all have to be in the same house. This, it comes, was printed by The Verge. There was a Microsoft Store leaker named Agorio Nementi Lumia. Say that 10 times fast. He shared an image that indicates that they're going to have friends and family branding on this. It's in 2 regions where Microsoft is currently testing Game Pass Ultimate Family. Customers can share their subscriptions with up to 4 people. Doesn't matter where they are, just as long as they're in the same country. And that's not too far out of the realm of possibility, because, you know, before the start of testing, there were months of rumors that they would be introducing a family plan. There were months of conjecture that what exactly would a family be? Would they have to IP track to see that they're coming from the same house? How would they have to do it? So, it's if this is the case, it's probably going to be a really good thing for Microsoft. It is very, very good placement for Microsoft, especially when Sony is not making a lot of friends right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this is, I'm sharing, here is the tweet that Agora Menti Lumia posted, that's friends and family. And then, of course, the people that are testing in the testing regions are reporting that they can share up to 4 people as long as they're in the same country, which would be great.
That would be very cool.
Yeah. great sense of goodwill, especially at a time, and it's not just against Microsoft, but we've got Netflix that's already starting to saber rattle about like, hey, if you're sharing codes, if you're sharing your account, we're coming for you soon. Not quite yet, but you might want to get your own account.
To continue my playing my role of the cynic about Game Pass is, I remember when Netflix did this exact same thing. When Netflix was like, share your passwords. We want you to share. Sharing is caring. And now they're like, we might crack down on that.
Yeah, but they said that at a time. It's a time and place kind of thing. They said it at a time that it made sense for them to say it, and now it's not because they're not doing well. Xbox is saying this at a time.
Do the exact same thing.
It's maybe
exact same thing.
Probably. Come to think of it, yeah, probably. If they lose the console war, they're going to do that. Mm-hmm. If it starts to not make money and not make enough goodwill and not make a dent, but they're absolutely posing Game Pass as the better alternative in all ways to the PlayStation. What is it? PlayStation Plus Ultimate Family.
They all
platinum
100% following the exact same format that all of the streaming services and Netflix did, which is we are going to do everything we can to like rack up a debt as long as we build a player base under the assumption that eventually it will pay for itself.
Right.
And if it doesn't, then the whole thing crashes and burns.
Yeah. Probably. This is your first taste is free.
Mm-hmm. I'm just saying, enjoy the family and friends for the next 5 years, because eventually Microsoft will say, we're going to crack down on this and make you pay for it or take it away.
Yep. Let's see. According to Blood Reaper, Netflix will let you buy the right to share your password with people. See, that's actually, I think, a reasonable thing. Pay a little extra so they can share. But that's what this is. Friends and Family plan is pay a little extra and you can share.
Mm.
Stoic Silence says, so shared Microsoft points as well? No. Your accounts. No, you're just going to link different gamer tags and accounts on that family share, but that allows you to share games, but not share profiles.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. He says, happy parents when the kids spend all the points. No, the kids have to earn their own points. I think that it's not using the same account. It's using the same, it's not using the same profiles. It's using the same Game Pass account that allows you to all play Game Pass. So, if you build it, they will come. Field of Dreams. If they build that, people will come. If only because it stands out from every other streaming service right now that's saying, don't share.
If they build it, people will come. And then the moment people stop coming, Microsoft will panic and go, oh my God, this is disastrous. Let's fire half the staff and raise prices.
Mm-hmm. Probably. The nice thing.
Look at Netflix.
Yeah.
Netflix's present is Game Pass's future.
There's an inherent difference between the two. Netflix is only Netflix. That's all Netflix does, is Netflix. Xbox is a subsidiary of Microsoft that does fucking everything.
So that just means they can lose more in the long run.
Be diluted a little bit. A loss is not, there is no Xbox stock. It's Microsoft stock. So if Microsoft is doing well, if they take a few quarters of shrinking subscriptions after a pandemic, nobody's going to go, sell Xbox, sell Microsoft. Microsoft is fine. They're fine. They're going to do what, they're a blue chip stock. And they're not in debt as a company. They're not in debt as a company. They make money. That's another big difference. They do not run at a deficit. They do not lose money every year. They make it. A lot of it.
That doesn't mean they won't sell off Xbox. There were rumors years and years ago.
Yeah, but that was years and years ago.
I'm just saying. The moment it stops. No. Okay. So new story into like proper this developer is your friend. Into proper like, oh, that's a solid.
Yeah.
A game developer named Rob Hale recently passed away due to complications stemming from cancer.
Oh, I hate hearing about that.
His partner CJ published a final update that basically said the Rob's games, the games that he made, which are top-down Geometry Wars-esque dual-stick shooters, Waves and Waves 2, are now free. They're just completely free on Steam. And he said, quote, "This was something Rob was considering anyway within the past 2 months as their health entered into more substantial difficulties. I hope this can be seen as a parting gift to all those out there who haven't yet played either of these games."
Oh, that is so sad and so sweet. I'm tearing up a little bit. That is, yeah, that's why indie developers are so important to this community, because they are the community.
Yes, they will not burn their own legacy to make a buck.
Yeah. And the people that play their games, they are appreciative of every single one. Kind of like being a small podcast, kind of like being us. Every single person who takes the time, even if it is just a few seconds, to come in and watch us, especially if they take time to actually say something in the channel, matters to us as a person. We see you as people, and so do small, independent game developers see every single person who plays their games as a person and are deeply appreciative of it. So, yeah, thank you for the link. There is the no. There we go. Rob Hale's final update, and you can read it on the steamcommunity.com and find it all out. What a shame.
Yeah.
I hate hearing stories about that, but I love hearing stories about people in an industry that you and I have just talked about for the last 2 hours, about how shitty it can be with shitty people. And then there's this story to end this one that's like, it's not all bad.
Yeah. And
there's
also,
a lot of good there.
The games have been flooded with positive reviews on Steam because of this, of like people offering condolences and all that.
So yeah, go pick it up. Pick it up and think of Rob. So, I think, am I out of stories? I don't know. Oh, one last story that is a story, but not a story. Looked like a story for a hot second and got reported by some very big outlets and then wasn't a story. Amazon, it got reported in USA Today that that sources had leaked that in a matter of a few hours last week, that Amazon would be announcing that it had purchased EA. It was, like I said, reported in USA Today. Doesn't get more like standard blue flag media than USA Today. So, and it wasn't such crazy talk, because we had talked on the show about how we know that EA has been shopping itself around after the Activision sale.
It was Ubisoft specifically was shopping itself around.
Ubisoft is shopping around. EA also shopped itself around. We talked about that, how they had actual talks with Comcast, NBC Universal for the acquisition of it. It was like 2 to 3 weeks after the Activision sale. EA started to go, "Woo! Where do I get in on all this money?" So they started looking, and according to that story way back then, that EA had talked to people like Apple, to people like Disney, companies like Apple, companies like Disney, and Amazon was one of those companies that was on that list. Well, it turns out that leak, unfortunately, that got put into one article and then go to another article and then go to a USA Today partner article and then go to USA Today. It's not vetted. So at least for right now, not saying that it's not going to happen, because it still could happen. It still very much could be, because we know that we know EA is looking for a buyer at a price. I think given the landscape of the economy right now and interest rates and everything else, concerns about recession, concerns about stagnation, I don't think anyone would be looking to acquire EA at the price that EA wants to be acquired. But the initial acquisition report came from a gaming and esports outlet, GLHF. And they're a content partner of USA Today's For the Win, which is a gaming news site that's affiliated with USA Today. So, of course, USA Today then picked it up. But For the Win subsequently did announce on their website that the story, quote, violated their editorial standards regarding the use of unnamed and unvetted sources. So that original poster, GLHF, had not really done their research. And then when For the Win picked it up, they also didn't do the research. So if you heard stories that Amazon was buying EA, like right now, they're not buying EA right now. Could they be buying EA? Maybe. Maybe not. Probably not the way I see it, but I'm no economist and I'm not Amazon. Wouldn't mind some of that Amazon money, but I'm not the company. So, and I think that's my last item. Let me go through and we talked about Embracer Group.
Yes, that was my next big one. So the Embracer Group has bought, and this is very complicated. They have bought.
Aren't they all?
They've bought. I'm gonna read a lot from this Kotaku article by Luke Plunkett. No, Luke Plunkett, because he does a good job going through the history of these rights. The Embracer Group has bought Middle-earth Enterprises. And the thing is, Middle-earth Enterprises owns like all of the non-book related rights to Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, they manage the licensing rights for video games, things like video games, merchandise, and like Lord of the Rings stuff that's not the books.
Yeah. And so previously, other people that used Lord of the Rings licensed the rights from Middle-earth Enterprises. Mm-hmm. So things like Peter Jackson's movies and EA's video games based on those movies licensed the rights from Middle-earth Enterprises. Although funny enough that he says the Amazon TV series actually is using a loophole to get around having to license the rights from Middle-earth Enterprises, because those rights excluded TV series of more than 8 episodes. So
really?
Amazon,
so they made it 9, right?
Probably 9, or maybe they just did 2 seasons. Because remember, they already renewed it for 2 seasons. They bought 2 seasons of that
right,
show.
Because in order to make 2 seasons, they had to go if they made only 1 season, it was under 8, then it probably cost them more.
Then they would have had to license the rights from Middle-earth Enterprises, whereas I think now they only dealt with Tolkien's estate.
Right.
But anyways, the Embracer Group has now bought Middle-earth Enterprises. And they bought it for apparently $770 million, which is a lot, but also less than you would expect.
Whoever is making deals at Embracer Group must be really good at them. But it is kind of curious that they paid twice as much for Lord of the Rings rights, the company that owns the Lord of the Rings rights, than they did for Tomb Raider, Deus Ex, and all 3 studios. They paid
Honestly-
half as much for all of that than they did for Lord of the Rings.
I mean, honestly, that makes sense. Lord of the Rings is a much bigger IP than any of those other ones.
True, but that also includes 3 fucking studios on top of that.
Yeah. Well, now they have the media rights to Lord of the Rings that they can license out to other people, or that they can then use these studios to make
And these
more.
these 3 Western studios that Square Enix didn't want to work with because they thought that they were cannibalizing their Japanese studios. Fuck you. Yeah.
So yeah, they basically say they put out a press release that says what they want to do, and that other opportunities include exploring additional movies based on iconic characters such as Gandalf, Aragorn, Gollum, Galadriel, Arwen, and other characters from the litany of works, and continue to provide new opportunities for fans to explore this fictive world through merchandising and other experiences. So their goal is to basically do the Star Wars spin-offs for like all of Lord of the Rings, which reminded me that there is a Gollum game coming out.
There is?
Yeah,
So why do I not know about this?
Lord of the Rings Gollum. I think it's a video game coming out. There were several trailers for it.
I am looking this up. Yeah, there it is. Lord of the Rings, Gollum gameplay reveal trailer. I am putting it up right freaking now. All right. Oh, hold on a second. Hold on. I do not have my audio enabled. Let's see. Let me know if you can hear it.
Okay.
Can you hear it? Okay, hold on. Oh, technical issues.
Here. Oh,
Do you have it? Because I just shared the tab without sharing the you're not sharing the screen.
I know. I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
I can hear it too. Huh. Why did I not know? Who's making it?
I forget.
Oh, it's not going through your system. It's going through your speakers.
Oh.
Okay, so we're removing you. Hold on. Technical difficulties. If I had my technical difficulties music loaded up, I would totally be playing that right now.
Look, let's be honest. It's not worth it.
Okay.
It's not worth it.
Who's making it? Do we know?
Gameplay reveal, PS5, PS4.
Available September 1st. Well, it says September 1st, 2022. Is it not? Is it already out?
No, it's not September.
Oh, it is. I'm sorry. I'm at work. I'm working everything a year ahead. Okay, so it's coming out this week then, in theory.
Actually, yeah, you're right. This says September 1st.
Yep.
Random Spiegel. It doesn't. I don't see who's making it.
I will play this. I will get this up. It will happen.
Someone in the YouTube chat, the YouTube comment section says, "Glad to see they're keeping the PS2 alive with this new release."
All right, let me see if I can get this to play now. There we go.
Oh, AC Ray says Daedalic. Daedalic Entertainment is making it.
So you said Gaelic or Dalek?
Daedalic.
Stay in the shadows.
Yeah, it is Wednesday. Oh, is it Daedalic or Daedalic? I think it's Daedalic.
Get to higher ground.
Yeah, it does look PS2-ish. I mean, it's sort of better, but not. Oh.
It looks like the kind of game that someone made because they had access to it.
Yeah. I don't see anything compelling other than it being Gollum.
Yeah,
The
it looked like-
untold story. So it's adding to canon, I guess.
It looks like a PS2 era licensed game.
Yeah, it definitely does. So I'm not. This is not a day one purchase, but
so now that Embracer Groups owns the rights, you can look forward to more games like that.
When you look at everything that Embracer Group has bought, because it is impressive. When they started buying stuff, it was like, oh, cool. Oh, very cool. That's really cool. And then let's go through it. They now own
The list is too long.
Coffee Stain Studios, which is Goat Simulator and everything else. Dark Horse Media, which is the graphic novel comics for video games. Deep Silver, which is not Grand Theft Auto, the Grand Theft Auto Saints Row.
Actually, new Saints Row just came out,
and it's getting
not very good.
really bad reviews. It's Embracer's black eye for the first big game of an IP that they've purchased. Does not. Well, let's get back to that. So then Gearbox Entertainment, obviously Borderlands and everything else. THQ Nordic, Saber Interactive, and then they got Bitwave Games, the Swedish game developer. Huh?
I have a story about Saber Interactive later.
Okay. Tuxedo Labs, European game branding Geotech, Japanese studio Tatsujin, American developer and publisher Tripwire Interactive, collectibles company Limited Run Games, and karaoke company String Tricks. And
Look,
of course, then they bought from Square Enix. What were the three developers that they bought? The three studios that they bought?
Crystal Dynamics.
Mm-hmm. I can't remember the other two, but they bought three studios that were kicked out by Square Enix, plus Deus Ex and Tomb Raider.
Eidos Montreal is another one. Anyways, we were all worried about Tencent coming in and buying things and acquiring things, but Saudi Arabia is making a play with all their oil money.
Yeah. Is this Saudi Arabian? This isn't Saudi Arabia. This is Swedish. They're Swedish.
No, Embracer Group is Saudi money.
No. Why did I think they were Swedish or Norwegian?
I don't know.
Really?
I'm 90% sure.
But they've purchased so much stuff that's sort of related but very disparate that it's like I don't know that they can run that.
Oh, it does say it's formerly Nordic Games, a Swedish video game and media holding company.
Told you.
The company was based under Nordic Games licensing. I know there's a lot of Saudi money behind it.
Maybe. That may be true. But they're a Swedish company. It just kind of seems like they're like it's the equivalent of, maybe this is like dating me, but back in the day you would watch late night television and drink too much, and then everything the ads sold on TV you would buy it all. And that's what it feels like. They're just randomly purchasing shit without any kind of strategy, without any guidance, without it seems a little too much, a little too disparate. Some really interesting moves, but none of them that are adding up into anything that seems like it's going to work together or tactical or strategic, where I can actually see where they're going. And if they aren't able to make money off of these things, then they're going and they collapse. Can you imagine what would happen if Embracer Group collapsed? All of this stuff would be up for grabs. It would be like buzzards at a feast. And Tencent buys a lot, but Tencent seems to be working with some kind of, grand plan and things that they purchase seem to fit in with what they do.
Okay, I saw the Saudi Arabia's public investment fund invested $1 billion into Embracer in June of 2022.
It's a lot, but not.
It
it's a
amounts
lot.
to 8% of the company's
Yeah,
ownership.
I was going to say it's a lot, but it's not the whole thing because this is well big, more than $1 billion company.
I mean, with
8% is significant, but it's not a like defining share.
with that investment, they were able to buy the studios from Square Enix and the Lord of the Rings rights.
Whoever is their deal maker is really, 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 really good. Because they're getting really good stuff at really fucking cheap prices. Like prices where you and I go, really? That cheap?
The thing is, they're focusing, and I remember they did this when they originally started as like THQ. When THQ went under, and then THQ Nordic, which is what Embrace Group originally was, bought all of that stuff. They're not buying top tier IP, right? They're buying the B games. They're buying the B and the C games. They're buying up all of the like mid-level stuff. That's
or the
why
stuff that's older and either hasn't aged well or it's been off the shelf long enough that it's no longer at its prime.
That's why they're able to get it so cheap, is because they're not buying Call of Duty. They're not buying Activision or Blizzard. They're buying all but they're also not buying a bunch of indie studios. They are, but they're kind of focusing on that middle tier. They're owning that middle tier.
Do you consider Tencent owning the middle tier games as well, with purchasing Riot and I forget who else they own?
I think Tencent is investing a little bit into a lot of big players. Right? They bought Riot, which is huge. And then I know they've invested into Epic, which is also huge.
Right. They have a big share of Epic.
Yeah.
But they don't have all of it.
No. But they're investing significant chunks into big players.
Yeah. And that's where I see this being more strategic on their part, that they bought a studio and then are getting like their fingers in the pie of a lot of other studios that they see having value in the future. Embracer is buying all of these things outright, and I don't think that any company, I don't think even EA or Activision could make good on all of the IPs that they're purchasing, even with the studios that they're buying. And then on top of it, you've got the manufacturing rights, the non-game studios rights with the Dark Horse Studios, and with the collectible company, Limited Run Games, with a karaoke company.
It really feels idiosyncratic of like, oh, the Embracer CEO must just be like, hey, you know what I like to do on the weekends? I like to sing karaoke. I'm going to buy a karaoke studio.
Company. Yeah. Yeah. They're spending like a drunk, depressed single lady in the 90s watching late night television and buying all of the as seen, or watching the Home Shopping Network. She got a credit card, a bottle of vodka, and the Home Shopping Network, and she is ready to party. And that's what this feels like. Like, she really needs that turnip twaddler. She really needs that turnip twaddler. And they really need that karaoke company. It's weird. I mean, when they bought the Tomb Raider and Deus Ex, and they bought something else too in that. It was a couple of different...
Legacy of Kain.
Legacy of Kain was another one. They bought a number of other IPs.
Yeah, there was
in that
one
deal.
more. I forget what it was.
Yeah, something tells me it's a Western. I don't know. Anyway, when they bought that, I was like, I feel pretty good about this. I think that this is good because Square Enix obviously wasn't going to do anything with these IPs. Maybe Embracer Group will. And now that they've purchased them, they've kind of got a financial incentive to actually make them make money, because otherwise then they're just sitting there costing money. Now I'm starting to wonder.
I mean, the thing
It's
is,
starting to not look good.
They there hasn't been anything about them like they seem to be fairly hands off. Like I know the new Saints Row came out and isn't very
Not good. And this is
but-
their first big title, right?
but
Since they purchased all of this stuff.
there's nothing that's been said or leaked or rumored. There's been no talk about how Embracer might have been pushing some agenda that made the game bad. This is just what's the developer behind them? Who
Who?
developed Saints Row?
Deep Silver.
Deep Silver. This is just Deep Silver making the game they wanted to make that kind of turned out to not be very good. It's not because Embracer had some mandate that caused it. It's just, hey, Deep Silver, the people that made Saints Row 3 so funny, are not there anymore, and the other people just don't quite have the same chops, is what it sounds like. So it's less of like, it's weird because it has that feeling of like evil corporate takeover, but they've been hands off enough that you're like, is it okay?
No. It does not feel like evil corporate takeover at all. It feels exactly like what it is. It feels like they don't want to be part of anything. They're just buying shit because they can with no strategy. And Stoic Silence says in the chat, makes a good point. He goes, remember, if it's oil money, they're happy to just invest and make almost zero. They buy UK soccer clubs for fun. Yeah, but it's only 8%, which means that 92% of the ownership of Embracer is someone else who wants to make money. They do care because only Saudi princes don't care.
In theory,
And
they
Russian
don't care.
Russian oligarchs. Those are the only two that don't care. Yeah, I predict Embracer's going to go under. They're going to go under in that what THQ when THQ went. They're going to go under Vivendi THQ style. I think that's in their future, or they're going to have to fend off a hostile takeover because they don't make enough money, even with the Saudi prince's money.
We'll have to see because they've bought a lot but haven't put out a lot. So
Exactly, they bought a lot and haven't done anything with it,
We don't
and
know.
now what they've got, I don't really see them being able to do as much as they should with what they've got.
But that's the thing. They've bought everything for relatively cheap.
Yeah,
they
did.
don't. They don't need to break the bank and set a world record in sales to make it back.
No, that you're absolutely true. That's because, I mean, if you look at just the Tomb Raider series for under 300
like
million.
300 million. Yeah.
Yeah, Tomb Raider series. If just looking at that, that's actually a win, and they got it so much on the cheap that it doesn't really have to do a lot.
Yeah. That's why
And maybe they're just maybe they're not going to make video games.
they just license everything.
No, they don't want to license anything. I mean, they do, but they don't. And it makes sense. Oh, it really makes sense with Lord of the Rings. They're not going to license a lot of the stuff because what else did they buy? Dark Horse Studios and Limited Run Games, the collectibles company. They're buying, and Karaoke Company. These are things that put out things that should be licensed. They're not buying Tomb Raider to make another Tomb Raider. They might, but they don't need to. They're making collectibles. They're going to make collectibles for Tomb Raider. They're going to make Lord of the Rings collectibles. They're not going to make a Lord of the Rings game. They're going to make Lord of the Rings comic books, collectibles, whatever else they can get their hands on. That's third-party marketing, like the Kenner company did for Star Wars. When Kenner made so much money on Star Wars toys. Star Wars changed the way that everybody saw toys because nobody thought that they would sell that many Star Wars toys. And Kenner became bigger than Mattel because of it.
I mean,
Same thing. They're not going to make it. They don't need to make it. They're just going to sell the tat.
They do need to make it in a way because the Lord of the Rings movies are old enough. You can't sell Elijah Wood as Frodo. You can, but it's a niche audience. Those movies are
but
old.
they'll license it to somebody else to make that shit. They might even license it to some other company to make a video game for like things like Tomb Raider. But then they're going to make all of the toys that go with it. The toys make more money than the movie.
I don't think they want to license that stuff out. I think they want it all in-house. They want Crystal Dynamics to make a Lord of the Rings games and then have Dark Horse publish the comics books based on that, and then have the collectible people make collectibles based on that video game. They want all of it to be in the same house.
And for the sellout quote of the day, AC Wraith, who says, apologies to Saudi princes and Russian oligarchs who watch this show. Have I mentioned that custom guitar I want? But thank you, Siri. Thank you for not being sure about that. And Stoic says, bingo, mugs, t-shirts, etc., etc. Yep. Figurines, all that stuff. Speaking of collectibles, I forgot about this. It's not in the thing. Did I mention during the show about the plastic tat that I bought because I am such a Dragon Age whore?
No.
Such an Alistair whore. I paid money. Oh my God. I feel a little guilty, and yet I don't. Not Bethesda. Who made Dragon Age? BioWare. Thank you. BioWare released, and let me see if I can pull it up. Alistair. What would I call
Body
that?
pillow?
No. Oh yes, I would buy that. Alistair. What was it? The Alistair collectible. Not the collectible doll. Alistair collectible. Oh, Dragon Age chest. Let's see. I don't know if I can find it. Dragon Age, they released this chest that you could get it in 2 different types of flavors. And it's got like keychains and just stuff, pendant, and it's got like comes with a letter from Alistair to you to say, please keep this keep this for me. I can't remember what it was, but yeah, I totally pre-ordered that shit. I think it was like $175.
Wow.
Yeah.
A picture of it?
I'm trying to find it. Alistair Dragon Age collectible. God dang it. Not the thing. Oh, here it is. Is that it? Yes, here it is. Let me see if I can find it. Dragon Age Alistair Romance Bundle is what they're calling it. Oh my God, I can't believe I bought it. That's not it. Let me get to put it on the actual page. Sorry. Because it was a pop-up. It opened a new tab. Here we go. Out of stock, baby. I got it. $60. It was only $60.
Okay.
The Dragon Age Alistair Romance Bundle. Let's see. What does it have? Let's see. It has a wooden box with the Alistair character's face on it. A velvet interior, a love letter from Alistair, which is on peach skin paper with worn edges, a bound rolled with a thin leather strap, an amulet necklace that's 2 and a little bit over 2 inches diameter, embossed antique stainless steel amulet containing 5 agate blue stones on a chain. Yeah, if you open it up, it's got like, this, and it's got the letter in there, and it's a love letter from him, and I totally bought it. Yeah, I'm an idiot. I am such a sucker for this. So, yes, you can let the mocking begin. Please, I deserve it. But I cannot deny my love of Alistair.
Fair.
And the thing is it made me.
I mean,
the fact that romance bundle, the fact they called it a romance bundle, made me appreciate that I am not alone.
Oh yeah. Look, it's out of stock.
Yes, I know. I know.
Okay.
I'm not alone. I want to start a Facebook group that's like a support group of people that are embarrassed by this.
I want to go back. Are there other romance bundles?
I don't
What are the
think
other
so.
options?
There were two options. Let's see. Tryst with the King of Ferelden. You won this royal approval, and now it's time to win over his heart. This brilliant gift bundle comes with enchanting wooden case, blah, blah, blah. Are there other bundles? By the way, this is the shit that Embracer Group is going to put out. Absolutely.
Oh yeah, I can't wait for the Gandalf romance bundle.
The Gollum romance bundle.
Oh yeah.
Spiegel loves you.
Oh my god. It's like a threesome with Smeagol and Gollum.
God. BioWare gear. Let's see what else they've got. I mean, that's of course the. Let's see.
Ooh. Did you see in the link? There's a Garrus body pillow.
Is there? Yes, there is a Garrus body pillow. There absolutely is. And I've seen that before. Yeah, BioWare just has my number. It really, really does. Just as long as they just don't make another Andromeda. I'll forgive them if they don't fuck up Dragon Age. Yeah, I sort of want to get a Reddit group of friends of Alistair to just kind of go, all right, ladies.
It looks like
and gentlemen, let's all admit that we all had that same feeling and we all felt bad about it because Alistair isn't real, and yet we're kind of still in love with him.
It looks like it's only Alistair.
Only Alistair stirs these feelings.
I guess so.
It astounded me that I wasn't alone. And I think that euphoria made me spend the $60 for this thing.
Yeah, not only are you not alone, he's the only character that's gotten this.
Yeah.
Oh.
What? The Gollum, pissed with the quote of the day for the Gollum bundle. You shall not pass.
Gandalf.
Oh, the Gandalf bundle. You shall not pass without touching me first. AC Wraith also says the Gandalf romance bundle would have had you wearing a cat full of bird crap, though. Oh my god. Yeah, here's the link if you want it. The Dragon Age Alistair romance bundle. As soon as I saw that come across my feed, it was like click. It was just absolute catnip. I could not click.
These are not actual body pillows, but this is fan art of what would be body pillows for all the Dragon Age characters.
I might get if it was available, and probably not this fan art. If it was available to get a Alistair body pillow, I might get one, but I would never tell anybody. It would be my secret. You would never know. I will admit to the romance bundle because I find it kind of amusing too. But I would never admit to I'd buy Garrus body pillow.
Okay.
And tell you. Totally tell you. Garrus is my best friend. AC Wraith, isn't your cat named Garrus? Somebody's cat is named Garrus. Garrus is the best friend I've ever had. No question. People or anywhere else. Garrus is the best friend I ever had. Yeah, I wouldn't tell you if I got the Alistair body pillow.
Fair.
So excited says, "Oh dear God, no." All right, so I think that. Oh God, is it 5:30? Have we been going on for 3.5 hours? Oh my God.
Yeah, I did have one thing about Embracer Group.
Okay.
And just because of that. So we had talked in the past about how the Knights of the Old Republic remake is kind of having real development problems.
Mm-hmm.
It was being developed by Aspyr, an Austin-based group.
Aspire.
It's now being taken away from them and given to one of Saber Interactive's Eastern European studios. Embracer Group owns both of them.
Oh, Embracer Group owns Aspire as well.
Yes.
And do they own the IP?
No, Disney does because it's Star Wars.
Oh yeah. No.
There was a report in Bloomberg that says Sony and Disney, both of whom have financial interest in the game, were displeased with progress under Aspire. So
Sony and Disney were unhappy. So
they weren't happy with the progress, and so Embracer Group took it from one of their developers to give it to another one of their developers because they have enough they could do that.
Right, but there's another example of Embracer Group owned video game development not going well. Again, kind of undermining any confidence I have that they're in this to make, well, obviously they're in this to make games.
What's the other game?
Saints Row.
Oh, well.
They made a bad game.
Yeah, but that doesn't necessarily seem like it stemmed from development troubles. That's just...
I believe the Saints Row right now is the lowest rated game on Metacritic right at the moment.
I feel like there's a new lowest rated Metacritic game every other week.
Well, we've had some real stinkers. But yeah.
But here's the thing, and I don't necessarily mean to defend Embracer Group, but when you invest in the B tier games like they're doing, that's what you get. You get things like Saints Row, which, like from all reports, it's not terrible. It's not an ungodly mess. It's just kind of uninspired. It's a B level game.
So they're buying B level studios to make mediocre games.
Yes, which when you think about it, that's what Saints Row was until Saints Row 3.
Yeah.
Saints
Row 1 was really fun, but it was buggy. Buggy.
Saints Row was a mediocre GTA ripoff until Saints Row 3, where it became its own thing and kind of like, it came into
it leaned into the voice of what it was.
It was the ugly duckling, and Saints Row 3 is when it became a swan.
Yeah.
And this new Saints Row is a mediocre ripoff of Saints Row the 3rd.
So it's kind of going back to his roots, is what you say?
Exactly.
But Knights of the Old Republic, that is also, and you could argue what you just argued, and that would make sense if that was only one misstep and everything else seems to be going fine. But here's a case where Embracer Group is trying to make a game, and the other shareholders in that game are not happy. And these are two companies that this is not their first rodeo. They understand how games are made and where they're supposed to be.
They've also made some pretty bad games.
Right. But it's not they've made good games too. They're not the ones developing the games. They know the development cycle. It's not their first development cycle that they've been through. Like if you have somebody that never made a video game before and it goes, why is it taking so long? Because it's a video game. They take a long time. These guys know what the development cycle, and they're not happy with the progress of what Aspire is doing. So they wanted something else. But this is another kind of like knock on the confidence of Embracer Group to actually deliver on all of the things that we have kind of put on them simply because they purchased them.
I will say 2 points though. Gearbox put out Borderlands 3 and Tiny Tina's Wonderland under
that's
Embracer,
true.
both of which were like really well received to a degree that honestly surprised me.
Yeah, Tiny Tina's Wonderground was that the one? Or was that the one? Was it Tiny Tina's Wonderland that they?
Yeah.
Yes, but it was DLC on Tiny Tina's Wonderland that everybody didn't like.
No, it was a DLC that people, they didn't like the DLC that was added to that game.
Right, right.
But also, there's also another story that we didn't get to about how the Just Cause developers the developers of Just Cause were working on an Iron Man game for Disney, but eventually decided against it because Disney demanded a timeline that was unrealistic, which when you think about all the rumors that have been happening recently about Disney abusing VFX artists, makes a lot of sense, and also kind of calls into question their whole like, oh, we're unsatisfied with the progress of this game under Aspire. Maybe they just have unrealistic expectations because Disney seems to be kind of assholes about a lot of its licensed stuff.
So what you're saying is jury's still out. I'm saying jury is still out, but it does raise some, maybe not red flags, let's say light pink, very blush flags. Barest baby's breath colored flags.
I don't know ASPYRE. I don't know who Aspire is. I don't know
ASPYR.
what they have made.
Aspire, which I used to call Aspire, started out doing conversions of games to Mac. So whenever a big video game came out and you had to wait for like a year for it to come to Mac, Aspire was the one that was Aspire, was the one that would do that coding to convert it to Mac friendly. Not always perfectly, but certainly well enough. I own a lot of Aspire games. And Pist says this Saints Row 1 and 2 hates gotta stop. He says gonna stop. I think he means gotta stop. He likes it. I'm right there with you. I didn't mind him either. I mean, 1 was a little, 2 was fine. I mean, it was good. It was good.
And
I liked it.
What? I will bet you $30. If you go out and you bought the new Saints Row right now,
I'd probably like it.
You would have that exact same reaction.
How much is? Hey, Ray, how much is that game selling for right now? Because if it bets me $30,
who knows?
That's a pretty good discount. Isn't that like a 60% discount on the price?
I think it's $60. It's a full price game.
Yeah. It'd be a 60% discount.
And you're like, it was okay.
No, $30, that would be 50% discount. All right. Yeah, Aspire Games right there.
Anyway, Aspire. They ported a lot of games, and when it came time to make their own, they couldn't do it because that's kind of what happens with a lot of developers. They've made games since then. That's what that link was for. Yeah, I'm saying you invest in B-level studios, you get B-level talent. And I don't mean to sound like an asshole throwing Aspire under the bus. I'm just saying, that's what happens. Sometimes you get hits, and sometimes.
All right. I stand corrected. Of course, they're doing Knights of the Old Republic. Obviously, no longer making that now.
I think they've ported all of these. They
Yes,
ported
Star Wars.
all of these to various things. I think they recently ported all of them to Nintendo Switch.
Right.
Oh,
That's what they do is they
also-
port games. That's what they're like bread and butter, what they started out as.
I
Myth Force,
remember-
which I've never heard of.
There was a story a couple weeks ago about how the port of Knights of the Old Republic 2 to the Switch involved a game-breaking bug that prevented you from getting to the end. So
That's
you
Aspire
know,
for you. Hey, that's Aspire. That's the
Yeah.
Aspire I know.
you get what you pay for.
Oh man, now I kind of sort of want to pay the Saints Row to see it. Pissed. You and me, we're gonna play it together, and we'll compare notes. Because Nick's right. Maybe I will like it, but it does have a really really low Metacritic score. That has me concerned. Because if it was just a midland game, you'd think it would not be that low. There's going to be enough people to be like you and me, where it's like 1 and 2 were okay, we're good. I mean, I liked them; they were fine. Oh, Stoic Silence says pushing 2 a.m. here. I think I'll vanish. Thank you, Stoic, for coming. We
should
hope to see you
probably
next
go
week.
too.
And sorry that it's going so late.
eat.
I know. I need dinner, and I just had my Huel breakfast. All right, everyone. I'm not even going to ask. Nick, I love to care whether you have anything more, but I know that if I ask you, you will say yes. So fuck you. We're ending the show. Let's close this out. You've been listening to GameHounds. GameHounds episode 650. We did record this on Sunday, August 28th, 2022. I'm Edie Sellers. With me has been Nick DiNicola. If you ever want to get a hold of us, gamehounds.net is our website. Gamehounds@gmail.com is our email. We record this show live every Sunday at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, here on Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube, and it's all live. On Twitch and Facebook, it is The Gamehounds. On YouTube, it is Gamehounds Vids, as VIDS. We would love to have you join us to record this show live. Thank you to everybody in the chat room. It's actually really good to have a lot of people in the chat room all talking to us at the same time. That's what we're looking for. So please feel free to join us.
Thank you, everybody.
And if you can't be here live, that's okay. We do this show as a podcast. Today's going to be a really long podcast, but it's there. We post it to iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Google Play, pretty much any service that you have for podcasts. We do that. If you do listen to us as a podcast, please don't forget, leave us feedback wherever it is, because that makes those podcast places, those feeds, those locations actually promote us so we can get more listeners for the podcast and hopefully make them more listeners to the videocast. Thank you so much for listening. Check Twitch for our schedule. I am going to be playing one of these games we just talked about that Nick challenged me today.
Play Forgotten City. Don't play Saints.
Nick's going to play more Stardew Valley, I promise. And we will talk to you next week, everyone. Bye. And we are almost out of the audio. Almost out. We are stopped. We are saving. GH 650 raw. I nothing happens until I save this, because if I don't, you know what's going to happen. I'm going to close that window and then everything will be lost, because I will do that totally. Wow, it was actually a really good show.
Well, while you're waiting for it to save, let's just relax with some good old.
There you go, Nick.
Doesn't it just
Pump it up,
calm you
pump it
down?
up. There you go. There we go. Nick loves this music.
And you know what? I actually do unironically really like this song. I think this
Really?
is the best of the choices.
That does surprise me. You don't seem to me as someone that would like, that classic guitar rock.
I've gotten like really into like not classic heavy rock, but like okay, there's this band called Greenleaf. I fucking love them.
Greenleaf.
Greenleaf.
I will have to look them up.
If I can.
Can we stop the music now?
Oh, sure.
Thanks. Yeah, and it loops.
It's like
So
a
it'll go
Swedish-
on for hours and hours and hours because Nick likes it.
Yeah, Greenleaf band. It's like a Swedish Swedish hard rock band.
Okay.
They're fucking awesome.
Okay. I will look that up. But everyone, thank you so much. And we'll make an announcement in the Discord when Nick and I play, what was it? Forgotten City?
Yeah, Forgotten City. I probably can't do it tonight, but maybe tomorrow night, Tuesday.
I can do it Tuesday.
Okay.
I can do it Monday. Yeah, I think I'm pretty clear the rest of the week-ish. We'll
Okay.
Depends on who calls me at 5 o'clock with something they need done tomorrow. So.
Okay.
All right. Have a great week, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. It was awesome to have you, and we will talk to you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Subscribe.